Chapter 1984. Lin Fei was prepared to win the first round first. Everything else could wait. The power of severing the heavenly Tao was very strong, and it was very difficult for Lin Fei to block it. He might as well use his invincible defense to last through the first day. There were ways to turn defeat into victory. Most importantly, Lin Fei had an idea in his mind that he had to persevere for a day before it could be realized. Interesting, it's actually a different kind of power. An old monster, like the Supreme Devil Emperor, had sharp eyes. He could tell at a glance that this move was extraordinary. No matter which direction the heaven's path severing attacked from, it was perfectly blocked. There were very few things that could interest the Supreme Devil Emperor. However, this young Lin Fei in front of him really piqued his interest. After a round of probing, the Supreme Demon Emperor's eyes lit up even more. This should be a unique power of the heavenly Tao. To think that it's something that I've never seen before. This is simply inconceivable. The unparalleled Demon Emperor's attacks were still unable to break through the other party's defenses. This layer of defense was like a sticky candy. Is this the legendary absolute defense? It's not very similar to absolute defense. The accumulated knowledge of the Supreme Demon Emperor was not something that anyone could compare to. Memories popped up in his mind one after another, but none of them matched up with the scene before him. Flaw. There were no flaws. It was flawless. Impossible. Even if it's perfect power, it shouldn't be flawless in front of me. Lin Fei activated his invincible defense, and he was indeed worried that his flaws would be discovered. Fortunately, the Supreme Demon Emperor did not manage to break through the invincible defense. He heaved a sigh of relief. The invincible defense was still very reliable. A day passed in a flash. Lin Fei persisted for a whole day. "Senior, the time is up. I should have passed, right?" Lin Fei said to the Supreme Devil Emperor. When the Supreme Devil Emperor regained his senses, he discovered that the other party had persisted for an entire day. "Consider yourself impressive. You've passed the first day. What treasure do you want? Just tell me. Other than treasures, can I exchange for anything else?" The Supreme Devil Emperor glanced at Lin Fei. Sure, Lin Fei wasn't interested in any treasures right now. If it wasn't for the fact that he had heard about the fusion of bloodline power, perhaps he would really choose the treasure and miss a great opportunity. "I want to know how to fuse bloodline powers." Lin Fei was worried. He suspected that the Supreme Demon Emperor would tell him if he didn't. He couldn't do anything about it. After all, whether he spoke or not was in the hands of the other party. The Supreme Devil Emperor laughed. "You are very smart. You know how to ask for the bloodline fusion technique. Do you think that you will have the time to fuse with it after obtaining it? How would I know if I don't try? Besides, Senior has opened the door for me. I will only be satisfied after I try." Lin Fei said directly, "Since you've chosen to fuse techniques, then I'll give it to you. I'll tell you. I'll give you the fusion technique. You have 1 day to prepare." The Supreme Demon Emperor said, "Next time, my strength will increase by 20%. The Supreme Demon Emperor disappeared from the palace. "System, analyze the fusion for me immediately." Lin Fei wouldn't worry about comprehending this fusion if he had the time. But time was too short, and there was no time to analyze it at all. Lin Fei could only rely on the system's analysis and come up with the easiest solution at the same time. Invincible defense was awesome. Even if it didn't consume divinity points, it would still be troublesome. If he could grasp the power of the heavenly Tao, at least he would have a chance to counterattack and vent his anger. At the same time, in another place in the Forbidden Area, more than a dozen storm-like willpower gathered together. "Demon Emperor, did you kill that kid? That's too boring. It wasn't easy for someone to come in. Why did you kill him? No matter what, you have to give it to this old man." The moment the Supreme Demon Emperor appeared, his willpower spoke. "You guys guessed wrong. This time an interesting guy came. The Supreme Demon Emperor waved his hand. Take a look at this first. The scene of the previous battle. It appeared in everyone's eyes. Not bad. Space and time are both at the large success realm, a peerless genius. It can't be. He actually hasn't mastered fusion. What a waste of heavenly talent. Could it be that in the current era, no one has mastered fusion? More than a dozen willpower started arguing. To be able to survive in the forbidden area, there were ancient existences in every era. Is this absolute defense? I don't think so. This little guy is very interesting. He is clearly at the small god emperor realm, but he actually mastered this kind of defense. It's too perfect. Everyone quickly noticed that this little guy's defense was awesome. They watched attentively as Nyo spoke. The Supreme Demon Emperor said, "Everyone, what do you think?" "I can't see anything for the time being. It seems to be another kind of power. There is no aura of heavenly Tao. Even if it is heavenly Tao aura, it is at least 8-star heavenly Tao strength." Everyone had good eyesight, so they couldn't see anything for the time being. "Congratulations, Supreme Demon Emperor. You finally found a suitable agent." Someone congratulated. The Supreme Demon Emperor shook his head. "It's not certain for the time being. That guy's other abilities are very poor, and he hasn't fused any power. He is about the same as those godsons. It is said that several old guys are contacting the godsons, preparing to train them as agents. They are really thinking too much. The godsons inherit the will of heavenly Tao, and it is the easiest to grasp the power of heavenly Tao. Using them as agents is better than anyone else." "Godson, Lin Fei didn't know the inside story. After consuming a large number of divinity points, the system finally analyzed the fusion method and concluded the method to fuse a kind of heavenly Tao power as soon as possible. So the fusion power is to burst out the inner mysteries. After fusing, the original 100% attack can burst out more than 100 times the original combat power. Fusion crystal. In the system, all kinds of treasures emerged one after another. Lin Fei hadn't seen all of them. He rarely took the initiative to understand them. When he heard that there was a fusion crystal, his eyes lit up on the spot. Fusion sounded simple, but Lin Fei had seen the method before. It required a certain amount of time to fuse. It was not easy to fuse. Lin Fei looked at the fusion crystal. The divinity points required for this kind of tool were not expensive. On the contrary, it required a large number of fusion crystals to fuse the 2 bloodline powers. I have 2 bloodline powers in me, but it seems to be very difficult to fuse them. It seems that I can only use the power of space to fuse another kind of power first. Lin Fei tried to fuse the 2 bloodline powers of space and time, but it was very difficult. There was no time to fuse them now. Fortunately, I have 18 primordial clones. Currently, the bloodline power of the 18 primordial clones had already reached the realm of great success. Chapter 1985. Lin Fei only had 1 day of rest. 1 day's time was enough. The Supreme Demon Emperor was a man of his word. Lin Fei swaggered around and tried to fuse the bloodline power of space and earth. The fusion rate increased bit by bit as he used the fusion crystals. Fortunately, when Lin Fei went out, he always had the God Meridian with him, so he was not afraid of using up divinity points. A day passed in a flash. The Supreme Demon Emperor appeared again, and this time he was more excited. "This time, I will increase my strength by 30%. The Supreme Demon Emperor knew that his words were quite shameless. But if he continued, it would not be easy to break the tortoise shell on Lin Fei. The Supreme Demon Emperor really wanted to break this tortoise shell. He wanted to increase his combat strength by 30% first. Lin Fei rolled his eyes. "You've already shamelessly asked. What else can I do?" "As you wish." Lin Fei was not afraid. "Even if you were an invincible expert of your era, you can forget about breaking my invincible defense." This was not bragging. I have not seen such a straightforward person in a long time. The Supreme Demon Emperor made his move, still using the power of space as the vanguard. This time, it turned into thin needles, trying to find a flaw. This time, Lin Fei did not attack. He just stood there. You can slowly find a flaw. This kid actually stopped attacking. The Supreme Demon Emperor could not figure out what the other party was thinking. Could it be that he had given up? The Supreme Demon Emperor used a day to study how to break this tortoise shell. But if the other party gave up, it would not work. It's still this kind of defense. The Supreme Demon Emperor secretly heaved a sigh of relief. Seeing this kind of defense again, the Supreme Demon Emperor immediately fell into a frenzy of research. All kinds of attacks came one after another. Most of them were at the heavenly Tao level, sometimes hot and ferocious like a tiger, and sometimes soft like water. The power was controlled perfectly. Lin Fei just stood there like a lonely boat on a turbulent ocean that could be swallowed at any time. Damn, if this guy had nothing to do, could it be that he was cultivating his bloodline? No, the Supreme Devil Emperor must have deprived him of his bloodline. Lin Fei didn't believe it. In this era, there were still people who could refine large amounts of bloodline power. Apart from deprivation, in a short period of time, the Supreme Devil Emperor had displayed several bloodline powers. This was an eye-opener for Lin Fei. Sure enough, it was never too late to learn when one was old. Countless generations of peerless devil emperors had cultivated a terrifying bloodline power. If he were to go outside, he would definitely be the most terrifying existence. Fortunately, this guy couldn't get out. Write it all down. Lin Fei secretly let the system record the attack pattern. This can be considered as me secretly learning. As long as the system analyzed it, he would be able to grasp the Supreme Demon Emperor's attack method. Lin Fei really hoped to encounter such a free opportunity. No, this method won't work. We need to change the method. My strength is still not enough. The Supreme Devil Emperor sank into madness. None of the ideas he came up with in one day would work. The other party was still standing. The Supreme Devil Emperor, who had always been in high spirits, also seemed to be depressed. There was actually a defense in this world that he couldn't break. What kind of joke was this? The Supreme Devil Emperor regretted that he could only use 30% of his original strength. If he didn't have enough strength, it wouldn't be easy to break it. Brat, you win this time. After a few hours of attacking, the Supreme Devil Emperor stopped. A trace of helplessness flashed in his eyes. Lin Fei heaved a sigh of relief. Thank you, Senior, for showing mercy. The Supreme Devil Emperor coldly snorted. What do you want? Lin Fei asked for a treasure left behind by an expert of the Hell Realm, and at the same time he asked for a saint rank divine pulse. He didn't expect the Supreme Devil Emperor to throw one out so straightforwardly. I will definitely break through your defense. In this era, there is no existence that I can't break through. After the Supreme Devil Emperor left, Lin Fei kept his invincible defense activated, as long as no one attacked. The invincible defense consumed points like a drizzle. Lin Fei was really worried that these demonic cultivators couldn't let it go and would secretly attack him. He didn't want to be caught and used as a test subject, so it was better to activate the invincible defense. No wonder everyone wants to attack the Forbidden Area. There are so many good things in the Forbidden Area. With another saint rank divine pulse in his hands, Lin Fei was very satisfied. Since he came to the Forbidden Area, he would first get 2 saint rank divine pulse. These were his trump cards. Let's take a look at the Supreme Devil Emperor's attack first. Lin Fei started to check. He didn't stop fusing with the crystal stones and continued to refine them. The Supreme Devil Emperor quickly started again. His strength increased again. He attacked Lin Fei again. The Supreme Devil Emperor's strength increased again, and he returned in disappointment again and again. From 30% to 40%. then to 70%. Every time his strength increased, the Supreme Devil Emperor thought that he would be able to break through this layer of turtle shell. In the end, he didn't succeed. The Supreme Devil Emperor hadn't experienced this kind of painful torture for a long time, and he had almost forgotten about it. The Supreme Devil Emperor didn't care at all about losing treasures and god pulses. This attack lasted for half a month. In this half a month, the Supreme Devil Emperor's strength increased from Small God Emperor to Earth God Emperor and then Heaven God Emperor. The Supreme Devil Emperor tried all kinds of methods, but none of them succeeded. Half a month passed. Lin Fei was finally able to create the first fusion bloodline power, the fusion of space and earth. From the Supreme Devil Emperor's mouth, Lin Fei knew that this power was called Invincible Tenacity, a very famous heavenly Tao power. When the Supreme Demon Emperor launched another attack, Lin Fan's eyes widened. The power of the Tao of Heaven, Invincible Tenacity, was unleashed, surrounding him in 3 layers inside and 3 layers outside. His field of vision was filled with defense. The Supreme Devil Emperor was very strong. Facing such a defense, he had a headache. As long as he attacked, a part of the power would be diverted away, and the rest would be blocked by the tough earth. This was why it took such a long time to fuse. Brat, you actually managed to fuse Invincible Tenacity, heavenly Tao power, without saying a word. When the power was displayed, the Supreme Devil Emperor revealed a look of surprise. This was a power that was very difficult to fuse. This brat actually succeeded. Didn't that mean that Lin Fei not only cultivated the space and time bloodlines, but also the earth bloodline? Why couldn't he tell? This was what shocked the Supreme Devil Emperor. He was an invincible figure of this era, but he actually couldn't tell that Lin Fan had cultivated a third bloodline power. The most unbelievable thing was that Lin Fan managed to fuse a heavenly Tao power under his nose. It had only been a month. Chapter 1986. This is all thanks to Senior's guidance. Lin Fei cupped his hands and said, if it wasn't for the Supreme Demon Emperor, Lin Fei didn't know when he would be able to grasp this higher level of power. He probably wouldn't know for a long time. The Supreme Demon Emperor looked at Lin Fei and said, I underestimated you. Just by relying on the fusion technique, you managed to cultivate this kind of heavenly Tao power. You are a top existence in any era. To be able to make a Supreme Demon Emperor say such words, Lin Fei felt very proud in his heart. My talent is not good, but I have the system. The system is awesome. Lin Fei would never say these words out loud. I'm just curious. How did you manage to hide the third bloodline power and not let me discover it? The Supreme Demon Emperor's pair of vicissitudes of life eyes saw everything in the world. From the moment Lin Fei came in, the Supreme Demon Emperor saw everything clearly. The previous defense had already shocked the Supreme Demon Emperor. Then the other party managed to cultivate the heavenly Tao power under his eyes. This was even more surprising. Everyone has their own secrets, Senior. Don't you think so? Lin Fei asked. Well said. Everyone has their own secrets, let alone you and me. The Supreme Demon Emperor did not ask any more. Then can I know what this power of yours is called? The Supreme Demon Emperor knew that he had misjudged. Now he wanted to know what the power Lin Fei used was called. For the Supreme Demon Emperor, who had lived for a long time and even opened up a forbidden area, there were very few things in this world that could interest the Supreme Demon Emperor. Without a doubt, Lin Fei was one of them. Sure. Lin Fei did not refuse. I have given this defense a name. It is called Invincible Defense. Senior, what do you think? Can it be called Invincible? Invincible Defense? The Supreme Devil Emperor had a pensive look on his face. What a good name. Your defensive power is indeed invincible. It's flawless without any flaws. Thank you for your praise, Senior. Lin Fei was afraid in his heart. He did not know what the Supreme Demon Emperor would do next. Originally, I was interested in you, but now you've made my eyes light up. Just based on this invincible defense, no one in the entire world can kill you. The Supreme Devil Emperor said, "There's no need for the next test. You're different from them." Whoosh, whoosh. A wave of energy enveloped him, and Lin Fei was drawn away by it. He reappeared. "You live here now." After saying that, the Supreme Demon Emperor turned around and left, leaving behind a baffled Lin Fei. F***CK, what are you going to do to me? In the depths of the Forbidden Zone again, hearing the words of the Supreme Demon Emperor, the dozen or so wills were quite surprised. Back then, they were all experts of the same era. Later on, they entered the Forbidden Zone, protected in the forbidden area of the Supreme Demon Emperor. After all, not everyone could open the Forbidden Zone. Only a powerful figure like the Supreme Devil Emperor could open the Forbidden Zone. Demon Emperor, are you really going to make this Lin Fei your agent? I believe that having Lin Fei as our agent will be of great help to our Forbidden Zone. Invincible defense, let me ask you, in this world, how many people can cultivate such a defense? This old man really wants to know whether absolute defense or invincible defense is more powerful. Everyone was in favor of it and some were against it. In fact, the person who made the decision was the Supreme Demon Emperor. I know that everyone thinks that it's better to find the Son of God to be our agent. The Supreme Demon Emperor waved his hand, and everyone quietened down. But this era is not an ordinary era. 108 Son of God. For the first time in eternity, every Son of God is worth investing in. I don't really like those Son of God. They're just lackeys of the heavenly Tao. This Lin Fei is undoubtedly very suitable to be our agent. Everyone listened quietly. Isn't Lin Fei's strength too weak? The Supreme Demon Emperor said. His strength isn't bad. Even for me, unless I use the power of the Forbidden Zone, it would be very difficult to break through his invincible defense. Do you think this is bad? Moreover, you were able to fuse the power of the heavenly Tao in such a short period of time. Back then, can you compare to him? Everyone was speechless. We support the Demon Emperor's opinion. Very quickly, everyone came to an agreement. The Supreme Demon Emperor sighed. I think that Lin Fei is worth nurturing. Our Forbidden Zone has reached its limit. If we don't find a new capable helper, maybe Lin Fei stayed for 3 days. During these 3 days, the Forbidden Zone did not restrict Lin Fei's movement, so he could look around. During these 3 days, Lin Fei personally walked through many places in the Forbidden Zone. He kept feeling that the Forbidden Zone was extraordinary. Here, the Forbidden Zone isolated the power of the heavenly Tao. Here, the master of the Forbidden Zone was the boss. Even the powerful power of the heavenly Tao was unable to destroy the Forbidden Zone. Lin Fei also admired the master of the Forbidden Zone in his heart. To be able to open up such a Forbidden Zone, although one couldn't leave a certain area, it was already amazing to be able to survive. The Supreme Demon Emperor came very quietly. Are you very interested in the Forbidden Zone? The moment the Supreme Demon Emperor appeared, he said such a sentence. Lin Fei nodded. Indeed, I am very interested. The Supreme Demon Emperor shook his head and looked at the sky. If possible, no one is willing to open up a Forbidden Zone and limit themselves to a place struggling at death's door. Lin Fei really didn't expect the Supreme Demon Emperor to say such a thing. The Supreme Demon Emperor said again, no matter which era's experts, if they can't do the last step, they can only open up a Forbidden Zone and not let themselves die. Lin Fei could hear the sorrow in the other party's words. The Supreme Demon Emperor changed the topic. Are you used to living here these few days? Not bad. The Supreme Demon Emperor looked at Lin Fei. You are the first person to survive in these 10 million years. Invincible God Emperors and what not, they all became my spoils of war, only you are not. Lin Fei thought, if I didn't have invincible defense, I probably would have become your spoils of war. No, it should be one of the statues. Let me ask you, are you interested in becoming the agent of the Forbidden Zone? The Supreme Demon Emperor's tone became a bit heavier. Agent. Do I have a choice? Lin Fei said. The Supreme Demon Emperor shook his head. You are very smart, but you are also very lucky to be able to become my agent. Many people want to be my agent, but unfortunately I didn't agree. From the moment Lin Fei came here, he knew that the Supreme Demon Emperor had some thoughts about him. He never guessed that he would become the agent. I am very curious. What does this agent want to do? Right now, Lin Fei had a lot of suspicions. It seemed like this agent was extremely important. In the immortal world, he could not be considered the most famous. The top 10 gods were all not simple characters. Why would they have their eyes on him? Chapter 1987. Lin Fei agreed without hesitation. Since the other party had already said so, no matter what kind of tricks they had up their sleeves, why should he be afraid? Lin Fei's thoughts were that simple. It was hard to guess what an old monster like the Supreme Demon Emperor was thinking in such a short time. Lin Fei just needed to be vigilant. As long as the Supreme Demon Emperor couldn't find a way to break the invincible defense, Lin Fei had nothing to worry about. After agreeing to become the Supreme Demon Emperor's agent, the restrictions on him were lifted. Lin Fei admired this forthright style. The Supreme Demon Emperor showed his sincerity. After lifting the restrictions, Lin Fei personally went to the Massacre God Emperor and the others, took out the treasures, and asked them to leave the forbidden area. The forbidden area of the Supreme Demon Emperor couldn't be broken. Lin Fei had a deep understanding of this point. After a simple explanation, the Massacre God Emperor and the others chose to leave. Breaking the forbidden area wasn't the main purpose. The purpose of the Massacre God Emperor and the others was to bring back the lost treasures of the Hell World. Now that the treasures were in their hands, they were satisfied. If the other God Emperors weren't happy, it was their own business. If they wanted to go deeper, so be it. Of course, they were the unlucky ones. Lin Fei wouldn't stop them. Anyway, he had already said it. It was up to them whether they believed it or not. Lin Fei returned to the depths of the forbidden area. Lin Fei was very interested to know about the bloodline fusion. For example, the forbidden area opened up secret books for him to read. This was a good thing. The forbidden area, left behind from generation to generation, must have countless secret books. Lin Fei was very interested to learn about them. When he saw the rows of secret books, Lin Fei was overjoyed. Lin Fei stayed and read the secret books day and night. Many secrets appeared in front of his eyes, which was an eye-opener for him. Especially the knowledge about fusion, it became clearer and clearer. Among them, there were all kinds of heavenly Tao secret methods. These couldn't be seen outside. At this time, they were all displayed in front of him in the forbidden area. Lin Fei was worried that he couldn't find related secret methods. Now that they had come to him, Lin Fei wouldn't be polite and recorded them all in the system. Besides that, he had also gained a deeper understanding of his bloodline power. From this, Lin Fei realized that his control over the power of space bloodline wasn't perfect. This was all explained in detail in the secret tome. Lin Fei finally understood why he was unable to defend against the attack of the Supreme Devil Emperor. So it was because of this. It was truly infuriating to compare oneself to others. His mastery was too rough. Since he was in the Forbidden Zone, Lin Fei simply put everything aside. He focused on his space and time bloodlines, constantly perfecting the parts he was lacking. In a short period of time, his control over his space and time bloodlines became even more perfect. At the very least, if he were to face an invincible demon emperor now, he wouldn't be easily hit by spatial power. This was a huge improvement. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Lin Fei moved back and forth, suddenly to the left, suddenly right, suddenly center. Compared to the spatial movement that he had mastered before, the current spatial movement was more perfect and flawless. He studied the secret manuals one by one. Lin Fei's understanding of his spatial bloodline had also reached a new level. He no longer just stayed on the surface and truly grasped its essence. This was the benefit of flipping through a large number of secret manuals. Lin Fei knew the benefit of accumulating knowledge. As expected, the saying was right. If he didn't flip through a large number of secret manuals, Lin Fei wouldn't be able to completely grasp the power of his bloodline and would only be able to use it at the simplest level. When the Supreme Devil Emperor appeared, Lin Fei reacted. "Not bad. You've improved a lot." The Supreme Devil Emperor laughed. Lin Fei cupped his hands and said gratefully, "If it wasn't for Senior's help, I would still be wasting my time." Lin Fei was very clear about these secret manuals. After a long period of accumulation, it could be considered a precious treasure. Not anyone could be lucky enough to come in and read it. The Supreme Devil Emperor was very satisfied. Youngsters nowadays lack accumulation. Don't think that accumulating experience and knowledge is a one-sided matter. To us, cultivators, it's very important. The more knowledge one accumulates, the better one will be. You're doing very well now. If it was in the past, Lin Fei might have been disdainful. But now, he agreed with the Supreme Devil Emperor's words. The people of this era seemed to lack enough accumulation, especially the accumulation of knowledge. Boom, boom! Suddenly, a fluctuation came from the Forbidden Zone. The Supreme Devil Emperor frowned and disappeared. Lin Fei followed. The two of them appeared on a mountain peak in the Forbidden Zone at almost the same time. "Old thing, what are you doing here? Are you looking for a beating?" Lin Fei stood above the Forbidden Zone and felt the boundless aura coming towards him. On a mountain peak not far away, a bald man stood with his hands behind his back. The bald man's body was filled with a heavy aura like a boundless mountain. His gaze suddenly landed on Lin Fei, and a strange look flashed in his eyes. "Devil Emperor, this isn't the first time I've entered your Forbidden Zone. Is there a need for this?" The tall and sturdy man snorted. Lin Fei felt very uncomfortable being stared at by the other party. It was as if everything was exposed in the other party's eyes. He realized that the tall and sturdy man in front of him was at least at the same level as the Supreme Devil Emperor. "This place doesn't welcome you," the Supreme Devil Emperor said unhappily. "What are you doing here instead of staying in the Forbidden Zone?" The tall and sturdy man pointed at Lin Fei. "I heard that you found a good agent. I'm very interested. Invincible defense." As the last word fell, Lin Fei activated his invincible defense, and a wave of energy swept across his body. "Not bad, not bad. It's a very impressive defense." The tall and sturdy man acted as if he had done something insignificant. But this made the Supreme Devil Emperor very angry. "You bastard, who allowed you to attack?" He punched at the tall and sturdy man. "Devil Emperor, you still have the same old temper. But don't think that I'm afraid of you." The tall and sturdy man stretched out his finger and shook off the Supreme Devil Emperor's punch. He jabbed his finger again and launched a counterattack. The two of them quickly clashed. Lin Fei quickly retreated. He didn't understand what was going on. What's going on? When the Supreme Devil Emperor and the tall and sturdy man exchanged blows, Lin Fei could barely see a trace of it. He was deeply shocked, but the tall and sturdy man was calm from start to finish. The two of them were actually evenly matched. "Devil Emperor, if this continues, I won't be polite anymore." The tall and sturdy man retreated and stood in the distance. The Supreme Devil Emperor also stopped and emitted a monstrous demonic aura. "If you weren't the only old friend left, I wouldn't mind killing you and destroying your Forbidden Zone." Chapter 1988. The Master of a Forbidden Area. Lin Fei immediately understood what the man was trying to say. Lin Fei could not tell that the bulky man was the master of a forbidden area, as his aura was significantly different from the Supreme Demon Monarch's. The man did not unleash his aura throughout the battle, maintaining a calm demeanor. It was also a perfect control of his strength. Lin Fei could tell with a single glance that the man had accumulated a lot of knowledge after reading through the ancient records. At the same time, he was confused. The master of a forbidden area could leave the forbidden area? The Supreme Demon Monarch waved his hand and said, Come and meet the shameless Emperor Lu Meng." Lin Fei brought his fists together and said, "Junior Lin Fei pays his respects to Senior Lu Meng." Another expert who had lived for countless eras. Lin Fei was aware of the man's identity. "Congratulations, you found yourself a great representative." The Emperor Lu Meng congratulated the Supreme Demon Monarch. "Of course," the Supreme Demon Monarch said proudly, "not many people have such an undefeatable defense." The Emperor Lu Meng nodded. "Indeed." "All right, you've met the man. If there's nothing else, you can leave now." The Supreme Demon Monarch was not fond of the Emperor Lu Meng. "Don't be hasty," the Emperor Lu Meng said. "I'm here to ask you if you're interested in Demon Monarch Feiyang's forbidden area. I've already contacted a group of people to raze it to the ground." The Supreme Demon Monarch wore a stern look. "Are you sure?" The Sixth Darkness, Godly Emperor said. "I've made up my mind. Demon Monarch Feiyang has been dead for a long time, and someone has occupied the Forbidden Zone and refined his corpse. It's time to attack. Now, I'm going to ask you, are you coming or not?" "Of course I'm going. Of course I'm going to join in." Attack Demon Monarch Feiyang's forbidden area? Upon hearing this, Lin Fei was startled. A demon monarch would die too? The conversation between the Emperor Lu Meng and the Supreme Demon Monarch did not last long. When Lin Fei took a look again, the man had already left. "Are you shocked?" The Supreme Demon Monarch approached him. "Yes, I am." The Supreme Devil Emperor sighed. "The Devil Emperor is not the end. The only difference was that he lived longer than us. This Demon Monarch Feiyang's strength was unparalleled in the past, yet he still couldn't escape from the Forbidden Zone. It's a pity that it's been taken by someone else. To the extent that even the corpse has been refined. What a pity. Rest well. In 3 days, you'll come with me." Lin Fei was surprised. "I have to go too?" "Yes, you must go," said the Supreme Devil Emperor. "Do you think that Lu Meng would casually invite me? In fact, this is the time for you agents to reveal yourselves. Those agents will go too." "Yes, they will all go. God Emperor Six Depths returned to his own forbidden area. You have an opponent." On a mountain peak, God Emperor Lu Meng said to a woman in red. A fiery aura revolved around the red-robed woman's body, instantly burning the mountain rocks into nothingness. However, God Emperor Hades was completely fine and stood there quietly. "Who is it?" "The new representative of the Supreme Devil Emperor. He has mastered a type of invincible defense power that is flawless." "It's flawless," the Six Depths Deity Emperor said. "It's not the power of the heavenly Tao," the red-robed woman said. "There's no such power in the heavenly Tao. There are only absolute defense, absolute protection, invincible protection, etc." God Emperor Six Depths was not surprised. In terms of understanding the power of the heavenly Tao, apart from the godsons, no one was comparable to him. "Well said, it doesn't matter if it's the power of the heavenly Tao, he's still your opponent. You'll meet him in 3 days, attacking Demon Monarch Feiyang's forbidden area." "Yes, Demon Monarch Feiyang has something that belongs to you. Destiny." Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Passing through layers of rift, the Supreme Devil Emperor brought Lin Fei to a huge forbidden area and landed on a platform. Demon Monarch Feiyang's forbidden area is right ahead, the Supreme Devil Emperor said to Lin Fei with a calm expression. Lin Fei stood on the platform and saw a huge forbidden area in the distance. Around the platform, more platforms appeared. There were people standing on the platforms. There were even young people standing on the platforms. "It's them." Lin Fei squinted his eyes and recognized a few of them. They were all godsons. Did the leader of the forbidden area and the godsons come to an agreement? "There's nothing strange about it," the Supreme Devil Emperor said. "The godsons are born under the will of the heavens and earth. Thus they have a lot more potential than you humans. As for why we're working together, You'll find out sooner or later. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Meanwhile, a few icy glints were fired from afar, each filled with hostility. The Supreme Devil Emperor was an old leader of a forbidden area. It was hard for them not to recognize him. Many people glanced in his direction when he appeared. Everyone present was a leader of a forbidden area. It's that kid, on a platform a distance away. The god's son, Tianlong, was sitting on the divine beast fire Qilin with a hint of surprise on his prideful face. I didn't expect him to be the representative of the leader of a forbidden area, too. Tianlong, do you know him? A leader of a forbidden area asked. I do. The kid has mastered the greater success stage of the force of space and time. Even the 8 god emperors suffered a great loss against him. They had no choice but to give him a great gift to appease his anger. If you don't fuse with a top-notch bloodline, it will forever be a superficial thing. The leader of a forbidden area said disdainfully, It's still your godsons who have a limitless future. Profound sky worlds Tion. The red-clothed woman with deity emperor 6 depths also noticed the person brought by the Supreme Devil Emperor. Looks like you know this person, deity emperor 6 depths said with a smile. A notorious guy. The red-clothed woman sat cross-legged on hoofing phoenix, blazing flames burning the void. I didn't expect him to actually master invincible defense. Interesting. Lin Fei's understanding of the godsons came from the news outside. For example, almost all the leaders of the forbidden area had brought the godsons. There was almost no pure human like him. Godson Tianlong, goddess daughter, 9 heavens phoenix maiden. Lin Fei was getting more and more curious about the leader of the forbidden area. What was their purpose in cooperating with the godsons? The Supreme Devil Emperor's reputation in the forbidden area was resounding. Hence, when he arrived on the platform, many leaders of the forbidden area took the initiative to greet him. Their attitude towards Lin Fei was average. Lin Fei didn't have much to care about. These leaders of the forbidden area were all top-notch powerhouses whose names shook the world back then. To be able to open up a forbidden area, there were even top-notch existences among top-notch powerhouses. Because they survived, those who couldn't open up a forbidden area all died. This was where their strength lay. Very soon, everyone arrived. There were a total of 18 lords of the forbidden area. Their strength was almost on par. Chapter 1989. 18 restricted region lords. Their momentum was tremendous. These fellows were all old monsters who had lived for endless years. In the end, all of them opened up restricted areas and survived. The lords of the 18 forbidden lands were all present. 5 of them stood out from the middle, including the Supreme Demon Emperor and the 6 Underworld's Divine Emperor. The other 3 were the Sanshur Divine Emperor, the Abyss Demon Emperor, and Emperor Tatian. They were all supreme figures back then. The 5 of them were the initiators of this event. At the same time, they were also the 5 strongest people. With the 5 of them taking the lead, the other restricted zone lords were all very convinced. Be it in terms of reputation or strength, they couldn't compare to the 5 of them. Supreme, you're the most familiar with Demon Monarch Fei Yang. Now that everyone is here, how are we going to attack? The one who spoke was the Sanshur Divine Emperor. He was not a god emperor, but his strength could contend against a god emperor. Back then, he was also an awe-inspiring figure. The other 3 looked over. The Supreme Demon Emperor said calmly, I've calculated it. 3 days later is the best time to attack Emperor God Fei Yang. By then, the forbidden area will be suppressed by the heavenly Tao. The 5 of us should be able to defeat Emperor God Fei Yang. No one doubted the words of the Supreme Devil Emperor. Back then, the Supreme Demon Emperor had fought with Emperor God Fei Yang, and they were evenly matched. At the same time, he knew Emperor God Fei Yang's background the best. I wonder if the 6 undefeatable god emperors of Monarch God Fei Yang are still around. The Abyss Devil Emperor said, Rumor has it that when God Emperor Fei Yang conquered the world, These 6 generals were the vanguard and unified the world. Emperor Tatian smiled and said, "So what if he's an invincible divine emperor? The 18 lords of the Forbidden Lands will attack together. Just blow them all up. Divine Sun Tianlong is here." While the 5 restricted zone masters were discussing with the other 13 restricted zone masters, the Divine Sun Sky Dragon, who was sitting on the Fire Qilin, headed in one direction. That was where Lin Fei was. The Fire Qilin released a torrential wave of qi. The void was burning as the Divine Sun Sky Dragon arrived not far from Lin Fei. The divine might was vast and mighty. Di Tian, I didn't expect you to be so resilient. You haven't died yet. The other agents looked over. Among the 108 God Princes, the God Prince Sky Dragon was the strongest. With the divine beast Fire Qilin, it was like adding wings to a tiger. Lin Fei laughed. My life is very tough. I won't die so easily. The Son of Heaven raised his eyelids and shot out 2 beams of cold light. I don't like your tone. 2 beams of cold light turned into 2 beams of sword light. The will of the heavenly path rumbled, and the power of the heavenly path was boosted. Lin Fei was no longer the same as before. Actually, I don't like you either. Lin Fei laughed. Divine child, you're nothing. 2 sword gleams were banished. Divine Sun Sky Dragon suddenly laughed and said, Not bad. You have improved a lot. That would be more interesting. No. Rather than killing you, it would be better to refine you into a heavenly law puppet. Be the vanguard in my conquest of the world. Lin Fei chuckled and said, Are all divine sons so arrogant? Everyone only knows how to brag. Be careful not to blow your own trumpet. Why don't you follow my soul? I guarantee that you'll have a good life. Hairball roared as well. Fellow covered in flames, obediently come over and be my little brother. Otherwise, I'll be the first to eat you. Now that Hairball had become a divine beast, her every move was filled with ferocity. Fire Qilin was also a divine beast. It was also untamed and could breathe fire. You country bumpkin, you think you can eat me? When I was mighty, you didn't even know how to hide in a corner. Hairball became even more unhappy. If you have the guts, let's fight one-on-one. See if I don't eat you. The Divine Sun's representative in the distance could hear the two's tit for tat. He couldn't help but admire Di Tian's unyielding attitude. Fire Qilin and Hairball started to quarrel. Divine Sun Sky Dragon suggested, Everyone in the world says that divine beasts are the most powerful, especially the extinct divine beasts. As for the primordial evil dragon, I have also heard of it. I wonder if you can let your divine beast come out and give me some pointers? Lin Fei thought to himself, This divine Sun Sky Dragon is really scheming. He is not someone that those profligate sons can compare to. Even his words are much more profound. Lin Fei did not dare to belittle such a person. Actually, I am also curious about which divine beast is the most powerful divine beast in the world. Lin Fei said with a smile. Divine Sun Sky Dragon patted Fire Qilin. Xiaohua, didn't you say that you wanted to exchange pointers with the primordial evil dragon? Now that the opportunity is here, go and perform well. Country bumpkin, come up quickly. The noble divine beast Fire Qilin looked down on the lowly bloodline of the primordial evil dragon. Such a person should not exist among the divine beasts. Roar, roar. Do you think I'm afraid of you? Hairball glared at him fiercely. To avoid alarming the restricted area, we have to set up an array restriction. Do you have any objections? Divine Sun Sky Dragon took the initiative to say, How could Lin Fei not know what Divine Sun Sky Dragon was thinking? It was to restrict Hairball's movement and put him at a disadvantage. Lin Fei sneered in his heart, You can scheme, but I can't. I agreed to set up an array restriction to avoid alarming the big shots in the restricted area. Divine Sun Sky Dragon quickly set up an array and patted Fire Qilin's head to let it go up. Master, don't worry. I will eat it in one bite. Everyone was very interested in the battle between the divine beast Fire Qilin and the primordial evil dragon. It was not easy to see a battle between divine beasts. Fire Qilin went up first, followed by Hairball. The array restriction was activated as soon as the two went inside. Swoosh! Swoosh! Fire Qilin was the first to attack. The entire array was engulfed in flames. A scorching sun appeared above the flames and released a terrifying attack. As expected of the divine beast Fire Qilin, this move is terrifying. It is dozens of times stronger than before. I wonder how the primordial evil dragon will resist it. Many people exclaimed. The strength of the divine beast Fire Qilin still shocked the divine princes. There were also some divine princes whose expressions didn't change. They looked very calm. Xiao Feng, who do you think will win? Phoenix Maiden of the 9 heavens sat on the back of Hoofing Phoenix with a transcendent aura. The flames around her turned into a burning kingdom. She asked calmly, "It should be Fire Qilin." Xiao Feng was the name of Hoofing Phoenix. It has followed divine Sun Sky Dragon and obtained endless benefits. The flames just now contained a trace of the heavenly way's power. Its lethality is very terrifying. Continue. The primordial evil dragon is rumored to be able to eat anything in the world. I don't know much about it, but I do know that it's good at traveling through space. If it's in an open space, the primordial evil dragon will have the upper hand. However, in a space isolated by an array, it won't have any advantage. The other divine sons were also discussing. The bets are open. Place your bets before the outcome is decided. Suddenly, everyone heard Di Tian's voice. Chapter 1990. No one expected Di Tian to say such a thing during the battle between the divine beasts. Opening the bet? It's already starting, okay? As the Fire Qilin continued to spit out fierce flames, the void crackled and crackled. The primordial evil dragon's huge body was constantly stained by the fierce flames. It started to weaken. As time went on, the power of the flames would seep into its flesh. It was not something that the primordial evil dragon could resist. However, under such circumstances, Di Tian was actually the banker and the dealer. Wasn't he a little too confident? Before they could digest it, Lin Fei opened his mouth again. You heard it right. That's right, opening the bet. Lin Fei said with a smile. Don't you think it's interesting? What's there to be embarrassed about? I'm the banker now. I bet that my hairball will win. Lin Fei said. You only need to bet on the Fire Qilin. The odds are 2-1. Don't miss such a good opportunity. 2-1? Where else could one find such a good opportunity? Di Tian, you actually dared to accept our bets. A burly young man walked over and stared at Lin Fei as he spoke. Lin Fei knew that the god's son was called Tianhu. He had a bad temper and was famous among the godsons. As long as you dare to bet, I dare to accept it. Lin Fei added, the premise is that I only want the divine pulse and nothing else. As for the fear that I can't afford it, you can rest assured that I, Lin Fei, have a high social status. Hua, hua, hua. 3 saint-level divine pulses appeared behind him. How about it? Don't worry now. God's son, Tianhu, touched his bald head. Direct enough. I'll bet 3,000 divine pulses. A storage ring containing 3,000 heaven-rank divine veins was tossed over. I'll take it. Lin Fei kept the divine pulses without hesitation. I'll bet 1,000 divine pulses too. 2,000. 3,000. The godsons were eager to try. Who would want to miss such a good opportunity? In the array, the primordial evil dragon's huge body dodged to and fro while roaring in pain. More people placed their bets. You have 1,000, I have 2,000, and some even have 4,000 to 5,000. Everyone wanted to take a bite out of Di Tian. Lin Fei's face was expressionless. He snickered in his heart. Damn it, These guys are really rich. They can easily get thousands of them. This time we can earn a small fortune." In less than a moment, Lin Fei had collected a total of 530,000 heaven rank divine veins. Some divine princes had yet to place their bets. "Supreme, your brother's agent is quite interesting." The Abyss Devil Emperor laughed. "He's quite daring. He's not afraid of losing his underwear." The Supreme Devil Emperor glanced at it. "I think it's quite interesting." The Three-Stone God Emperor had an ordinary relationship with the Supreme Devil Emperor. He sneered. "A person who doesn't know what's good for him. There's nothing to see." The Arch-Tatian smiled and said, "Everyone should support young people when they have ideas. Even I want to bet on him. It's been a long time since I've met such an interesting kid." The Six Depths Deity Emperor said, "Supreme, I heard you still have a million-year-old deity brew. Why don't you take it out and add to the bet?" The Supreme Devil Emperor smiled and said, "I know you want my deity brew. I'm quite interested after hearing what you said. Fine, I'll take out a bottle of deity brew to add to the bet. However, you have to take out the azure gourd you got last time. Are you willing to do that?" The Six Depths Deity Emperor agreed right away. He took out an azure gourd. The gourd was glowing and looked quite extraordinary. "Supreme, I'm also tempted. Why don't you count me in as well?" The Abyss Devil Emperor smiled and said, "I also miss the Supreme Deity brew. I'm willing to use a bottle of Abyss Deadwater as the bet." The Supreme Devil Emperor thought, "If you want to give me something, then I won't hold back." The number of divine veins in Lin Fei's hands kept increasing. It went from 500,000 to 1,000,000. If Hairball lost, Lin Fei would have to pay 500,000 heaven rank divine veins. Normal people would really go bankrupt. "Divine Prince Tianlong, you want to bet too?" Lin Fei raised his eyes and looked at Divine Prince Tianlong in front of him. Divine Prince Tianlong smiled and said, "Why not? I know you are very wealthy. It's just whether you dare to accept it or not." Lin Fei smiled and said, "I'll take as many as you want." "All right." Divine Prince Tianlong sneered in his heart, "I can't kill you now. I don't mind making you bankrupt first. Without the support of divine veins, let's see how you can display your strength." Divine veins were Di Tian's lifeblood. Someone had researched it a long time ago. Divine Prince Tianlong was only attacking from the weak point. Boom, boom, boom. Divine veins flew out one after another, shaking heaven and earth. How generous! Saint rank divine veins. 1, 2, 3. Damn, 16 saint rank divine veins. Seeing the long lines of divine veins, some god sons exclaimed. Those were all saint rank divine veins, not heaven rank divine veins. There were 16 of them. That was definitely generous. Divine Prince Tianlong said indifferently, "I'm sorry, I don't have any heaven rank divine veins. I only have saint rank divine veins. I'm really sorry. Do you want me to take them back?" Divine Prince Tianlong said it casually, but in reality he was here to attack Lin Fei. If he lost, 8 saint rank divine veins were enough to make Lin Fei bankrupt. This was a vicious move. Who was Lin Fei? He had expected that Divine Prince Tianlong would not give up on this opportunity to attack him. Lin Fei was not surprised that Divine Prince Tianlong had placed such a heavy bet. "Divine Son, Sky Dragon, you are really generous." Lin Fei sighed. "Compared to you, my wealth is far inferior. However, I want your saint rank divine veins." Divine Prince Tianlong thought that Lin Fei would reject him first. He did not expect Lin Fei to agree immediately. "All right, you are the best." Divine Prince Tianlong laughed. "Just don't look too bad when you lose." Lin Fei was not worried about losing at all. "Don't worry, I won't cry even if I lose." Now that he had 16 saint rank divine veins, Lin Fei was very happy. This kind of good thing was not so easy to obtain. With this, he could use his ultimate moves continuously. He was confident and did not need to worry about anything. To Lin Fei, ordinary heaven, rank divine veins were not worth his attention. They were consumed too quickly and might not be able to withstand it. Only saint rank divine veins could withstand it. Originally, he was still worried about where he could get them. Now that they came to him, Lin Fei did not stand on ceremony and accepted them all. In the array, the fire Qilin's attacks were even faster. It was moving in the flames. It seemed like it could move continuously as long as there were flames. Such an ability was very terrifying. On the other hand, the primordial evil dragon was covered in flames and was fleeing back and forth. Chapter 1991. The fire Kirin kept showing off its power. The people who placed the bets laughed. Damn it, I should have placed more bets. Someone regretted. You're so stupid. I placed 3,600 bets. I'll make a fortune then. 3,600 bets are nothing. I bet 6,000 bets. I want Ditian to lose so badly that he can't even put on his pants. Ha ha ha. This is the first time I've seen someone give me money. Exactly. The ancient evil dragon almost went extinct back then. Its power is unimaginable. How could it be a match for the fire Kirin? Everyone had the same opinion. The fire Kirin was much more famous than the ancient evil dragon since it was able to survive. The result of the battle between the divine beasts was already decided. Supreme, your divine beast isn't doing well. It's losing. The three-sure divine emperor chuckled. I can have a sip of your wine now. Anything they cared about was good stuff. The supreme demon emperor smiled. You're too impatient. You can't say anything before the result is decided. The three-sure divine emperor was annoyed. I don't think so. The ancient evil dragon doesn't have any natural advantages. How strong can it be? The abyss demon emperor and Emperor Tatian remained silent. The primordial evil dragon was renowned throughout the world back then. It wasn't an undeserved reputation. From the start until now, the primordial evil dragon hasn't used any offensive methods. Do you think this is normal? The supreme devil emperor said unhurriedly. The three-stone divine emperor's expression suddenly turned ugly. That seemed to be the case. Hairball kept dodging. The surging fire waves came and the air crackled, creating many black holes. Surrender. The fire Kirin was even more proud. Hairball thought, it's time to fight back. Heaven swallowing. Hairball had reached the mature stage after entering the divine beast state. Her power was terrifying. She had been at a disadvantage just now because her master had taken advantage of her. Now that it was about time, Furball naturally had no need to keep up the act, and it opened its bloody mouth wide. She opened her mouth and performed a powerful talon attack, Heaven swallowing. This move was too futile. The fire Kirin didn't expect the ancient evil dragon to be pretending, and was caught off guard. Crack! It bit the fire Qilin, and blood splattered everywhere. Delicious! He swallowed the divine beast's flesh in one gulp. Hairball was overjoyed. The fire Qilin was unable to move. Weren't you very impressive just now? Hairball said disdainfully as she bit off another piece of divine beast meat. Now let's continue to show off. Another mouthful. Calling me a country bumpkin, who do you think you are? Hairball roared and bit off a large chunk of flesh. The fire Qilin was about to go crazy. Its body was indeed surrounded by a type of power unable to break free. What kind of trick did you use? Why can't I move? Hairball smirked and said, This is the innate ability of our primordial evil dragon tribe. It's an innate ability that can fight against heaven. You're just a little divine beast. How dare you be so arrogant in front of us? I'll eat. He took another bite. To Hairball, the flesh and blood of divine beasts were simply too delicious. In less than a moment, the fire Qilin was badly mutilated. His white bones were exposed, making one's scalp go numb. All the spectators were dumbfounded. The Fire Qilin lost. What was going on? Wasn't the Fire Qilin very impressive just now? Why wasn't he fighting back after being bitten? Everyone was momentarily confused. In their eyes, no matter how fierce the primordial evil dragon was, it would lose to the Fire Qilin today. They could also earn a small fortune from Ditian and look down on him afterwards. Now, they were the ones who lost. Seeing the primordial evil dragon tearing the Fire Qilin apart, the godsons outside could not help but shiver. Even the Fire Qilin's tough defense was torn apart, let alone them. Sorry, it seems that I won. The Supreme Devil Emperor was all smiles, but he was secretly shocked as well. He thought, the primordial evil dragon is indeed the overlord of the food chain. It dares to eat anything. The Fire Qilin is really unlucky. The 3 Stone God Emperor and the other 3 were quite surprised. The primordial evil dragon was actually so terrifying. You win. The 3 Stone God Emperor was unwilling. The item was still given to the Supreme Demon Emperor. The Abyss Demon Emperor, Tatian, and the 6 Darkness God Emperor were the same. We were wrong. I didn't expect the primordial evil dragon to be so powerful. It can freeze the world and completely suppress the Fire Qilin. The 6 Darkness God Emperor's eyes lit up. We've all been tricked by Ditian. Emperor Tatian soon realized. After they realized it, they didn't know whether to laugh or cry. They were the lords of the forbidden areas, so they wouldn't cause trouble for a junior. Besides, Ditian was on the Supreme Demon Emperor's side, so they wouldn't offend the Supreme Demon Emperor. Open. The Divine Prince Sky Dragon removed the array and slashed at the primordial evil dragon with his hand. Your master is so shameless. Furball snorted in dissatisfaction and rammed his head into the Fire Qilin divine beast. The Fire Qilin flew backward and crashed into the divine Sun Sky Dragon's attack. Another large chunk of flesh fell off, and Furball came out and swallowed it. The Fire Qilin let out a cry of agony. Master, you should have seen it clearly before you attacked. The Divine Prince Sky Dragon turned pale. His heart was bleeding after the slash landed on the Fire Qilin's body. He took out a large number of elixirs and fed them to the Fire Qilin. You're good. The Divine Prince Sky Dragon knew he had been tricked. He secretly cursed Qin Fan for being shameless and cunning. He had lost 16 small, sacred-grade divine meridians. Hairball dodged and returned to Lin Fei. Master, the meat of a divine beast tastes really good. Lin Fei had known what these people were thinking from the beginning. They wouldn't miss out on anything that could benefit them. The only thing he didn't expect was that the Divine Prince Sky Dragon would place such a heavy bet and gain a lot. Hee, how could I have won your things if I wasn't powerful? Lin Fei smiled and said, Anyway, a dozen sacred-grade divine meridians are nothing to a rich man like you. The other divine princes rolled their eyes. Do you really think we don't care? They despised Ditian. The Divine Prince Sky Dragon comforted the Fire Qilin and said coldly, You have too many things. Be careful. Among the 108 godchildren, the ones at the top were all proud and arrogant. None of them were willing to submit to anyone. The Divine Prince Sky Dragon's words pulled Lin Fei to the opposite side. Subconsciously, he was saying that if you have a divine meridian, you need to have a life to enjoy it. The gazes of the divine princes became very unfriendly. Clearly, they were provoked by these words. Lin Fei scratched his ear and said, I have a huge appetite. I won't be able to eat too much. With the lord of the restricted area here, no one would make a move for the time being. They had a powerful background, and there was still a gap between them and the lord of the restricted area. Chapter 1992. You are really ruthless. After the Supreme Demon Emperor returned, he smiled and said to Lin Fei. Lin Fei chuckled. Actually, I am poor. If I can make a small profit, I will. Who asked them to be greedy? The Supreme Demon Emperor agreed with this sentence. Everyone can't avoid the word greed. brat, you also know how to scheme. You got over a dozen sacred god veins. That should be enough for you. He who asked them to be greedy serves them right. Lin Fei laughed. I didn't ask them to bet. This is for you. The Supreme Demon Emperor took out a bottle of immortal brew and threw it to Lin Fei. Immortal brew. Lin Fei caught it. There were too many of them. The Supreme Demon Emperor seemed to know what Lin Fei was thinking. Don't look down on my immortal brew. This is 1,000,000-year-old immortal brew. 1,000,000-year-old immortal brew? Lin Fei's eyeballs almost popped out. Lin Fei had immortal brews in his storage ring. Those were over a dozen years old. The oldest was a few 100,000 years old. However, there were not many that were a few million years old. Most importantly, this immortal brew came from the Supreme Demon Emperor. Its quality was definitely not ordinary. This bottle of immortal brew is something that can't be found in the entire immortal world. The ingredients are all gone. The Supreme Demon Emperor laughed. Just drink it sparingly. Lin Fei immediately treated it as a treasure. Something personally refined by the Supreme Demon Emperor was definitely good stuff. Thank you, Senior. Even though Lin Fei did not drink it, it was definitely an exceptional brew. Sky Dragon, we will be attacking the Forbidden Zone tomorrow. I have a task for you. At the camp outside the Forbidden Zone, the 3 Stones Divine Emperor said to the Sky Dragon in front of him, "We are partners. Speak your mind." The Sky Dragon said. The 3 Stones Divine Emperor thought highly of the Sky Dragon. Not bad. I thought you would still be immersed in your anger towards Di Tian. Tianlong said calmly. Di Tian? Haha, I've never taken Di Tian seriously. He's not fit to compete with me. If I want to kill him, I'll kill him within 10 moves. The 3 Stone Divine Emperor was very satisfied. Now, listen carefully. After we attack the Forbidden Zone, the 18 leaders of the Forbidden Zones will work together to drive Demon Monarch Fei Yang out. Your job is to suppress the 6 undefeatable God Emperor generals under Demon Monarch Fei Yang. You only need to suppress one of them. The Divine Son, Sky Dragon, knew more things. My strength has improved greatly, and I have not fought against a Paragon God Emperor yet. I am very interested in this, God's Son Tianlong said with a smile. You need a protector, one of the 6 undefeatable God Emperors under Demon Monarch Fei Yang, with an invincible deity emperor among them. You will have the capital to contend against them. The Sanshur Celestial Emperor said smilingly, once you've defeated one of the undefeatable God Emperors, you'll be able to bring him to the treasure vault left behind by Demon Monarch Fei Yang and obtain the Destiny Stone. Divine Prince Tianlong suddenly said, one invincible Divine Emperor is not enough. Meanwhile, the Lord of the Restricted Region summoned his representative over. Tell me what to do tomorrow. Some of the lords of the restricted regions chose to form an alliance. Lin Fei was also summoned by the Supreme Demon Monarch. At the same time, he met the other lord of the restricted region, the 6 underworld celestial emperor, and a beautiful lady. The lady, Lin Fei, recognized her, the goddess, the 9 heavens phoenix, the one who tamed the godly beast hoofing phoenix. Come in. The Supreme Demon Monarch said to Lin Fei. The 6 underworld celestial emperor glanced at Lin Fei as soon as he came in. Kid, you're not bad. Just SOO. Lin Fei said politely. The 6 underworld celestial emperor said smilingly, don't be so humble. You've earned a fortune recently and made me lose an item. Not everyone can do that. The Supreme Demon Monarch asked Lin Fei to stand beside him. Di Tian is here. You can tell me now. The 6 underworld celestial emperor said, we're going to attack Demon Monarch Fei Yang tomorrow. I hope that the 9 heavens phoenix and Di Tian can take down a general together. Lin Fei had no idea what would happen after they attacked Demon Monarch Fei Yang's Forbidden Zone. But the generals knew. Demon Monarch Fei Yang had 6 generals with the cultivation of undefeatable God Emperors. Even though Demon Monarch Fei Yang was dead, The invincible divine emperor had also died. He had retained his original attack, and his strength had not been affected at all. Lin Fei was surprised when he heard that the Nine Heavens Phoenix was going to take down one of the invincible god emperors. An invincible god emperor was quite impressive. After all, it was equivalent to the peak invincible god emperor's strength. It was comparable to a god emperor's strength. Otherwise, they would not be given the title of invincible god emperor. The title of invincible god emperor was proven by their strength. Demon monarch Fei Yang had 6 invincible god emperors under his command. One could easily imagine how powerful demon monarch Fei Yang was in the past. The supreme demon monarch was not surprised. An invincible god emperor is not bad, but how are we going to split it? Lin Fei listened in silence. His gaze would occasionally land on the Nine Heavens Phoenix. The woman was extraordinary. Her body was emitting a powerful aura that was on par with the god sun, Tianlong. Maybe this Nine Heavens Phoenix is on par with the god sun, Tianlong. Lin Fei mumbled to himself. He could sense a dangerous aura coming from her. He could not help but have a hunch. If we can take down one of the invincible god emperors and give it to us, I'll let Di Tian have the first pick of the 3 treasures when we enter the treasure vault of Demon Monarch Fei Yang. The supreme demon monarch shook his head. The price of a path protector of an invincible god emperor is way more than that. Lin Fei came to a realization. He was still curious why the supreme demon monarch was interested in an invincible god emperor, but it seemed like it was because of the path protector. Every expert would have a path protector around them when they were competing for the heavenly will. Their purpose was to protect them, which was equivalent to having a powerful bodyguard. The reason why Demon Monarch Fei Yang was able to secure the heavenly will in the end was because he had 6 invincible god emperors as his path protectors. The Nine Heavens Phoenix said coldly, "It's unnecessary for us to work together. I can easily take down an invincible god emperor on my own." K. This woman sure is arrogant. Lin Fei mumbled to himself. The supreme demon monarch glanced at the Nine Heavens Phoenix and said, "If Phoenix has the same thought, there's no need for us to work together. Di Tian, what do you think?" Lin Fei was quite interested in having an invincible god emperor as his path protector. He could only summon god emperors for now. No matter how many god emperors there were, they would not stand a chance against an invincible god emperor. "Let's see who's capable enough." Lin Fei said, "Whoever is capable enough will be able to take down an invincible god emperor." Work together? Lin Fei was not interested in it either. He had brought over 10 million ultimate gods with him. He could use the ultimate gods as cannon fodder to buy himself some time. Work together? There was no need for that. Lin Fei was planning to take a look at the invincible god emperors. Demon Monarch Fei Yang was the path protector of 6 invincible god emperors. He should be stronger than him. The supreme demon monarch said with a smile, "It seems like young people have their own ideas. It's not appropriate for us to interfere. Let them do it themselves." Chapter 1993. It seems like I'm going to have another opponent. Lin Fei rubbed his nose and said as soon as the Nine Heavens Phoenix and Emperor looming left. Lin Fei knew the Nine Heavens Phoenix was treating him as an opponent, judging from the look in her eyes when she left. Working together? Lin Fei was indeed not interested. There were only 6 Tao protectors. He might as well do it himself instead of working together. Lin Fei's thoughts were as simple as that. Therefore, he rejected the offer. "I thought you would choose to work with the Phoenix." The supreme demon monarch was surprised. "There's no benefit in working together. Why would I?" Lin Fei said smilingly, "Even though I'm not interested in being a Tao protector, I'm not willing to give it to someone else. I might as well take one myself." No matter what, Lin Fei's attitude was resolute. The supreme demon monarch nodded. "You're right, but you're the first one who doesn't care about being a Tao protector." After chatting for a while, the supreme demon monarch went straight to the point Lin Fei, when we attack Demon Monarch Fei Yang, you'll go and suppress the undefeatable God Emperors. It's best if you can suppress one of them, and you'll be able to enter Demon Monarch Fei Yang's treasure vault. The treasure vault contains the destiny left by Demon Monarch Fei Yang. It's up to you if you have the chance to acquire it. Lin Fei said, I will. 3 days were gone in the blink of an eye. The crowd gathered in front of the Forbidden Zone once again. The 18 masters of the Forbidden Zones were all present. More than 10 God Princes and God Emperors stood behind the masters of the Forbidden Zones. Lin Fei was one of them too. However, as soon as Lin Fei arrived, he immediately sensed their hostility. On second thought, he realized the reason why they were treating him as an opponent was because of the 6 undefeatable God Emperors. There were too many of them, thus it was impossible for each of them to have one Tao protector. They had to keep their guard up against the strongest person. Without a doubt, he had become one of them. Lin Fei would never doubt his intuition. Di Tian, you've won the last time. I wonder if you're interested in a rematch with me. The God Sun Sky Dragon stared at him. Lin Fei did not know much about the God Sun Sky Dragon, but he knew the God Sun Sky Dragon was a lot more difficult to deal with than ordinary opponents. Get back some face? Lin Fei sneered in his heart. It wouldn't be normal if you didn't stand up and make trouble. From the beginning, Lin Fei had guessed what the Sky Dragon was thinking. I'm actually very interested in gambling. Lin Fei greeted him. What do you want to play? Just say it. Divine Sun Tianlong laughed. You should know about the Tao Protectors. Why don't we compete to see who can suppress an invincible God Emperor? Become a Tao Protector. I like this. If you lose, you have to take out 30 small sacred divine ranges. How about that? Sky Dragon said confidently. Lin Fei thought, this guy is really ruthless. This time, he wants me to go back to before liberation. Lin Fei's entire fortune didn't even reach 30 saint rank divine veins. If he really fell asleep, he would lose everything he had. Sir, you've spoken. If I don't agree, you might think that I'm afraid of you. Lin Fei said straightforwardly, I accept your wager. If you lose, it'll be 30 saint rank divine ranges. No problem, right? No problem. Sky Dragon looked at Lin Fei. The matter was settled. Lin Fei looked at the other God Sons and said with a smile, I wonder if everyone is interested in making a bet. It's still 2-1. The 18 restricted zone lords couldn't help but shake their heads. This Di Tian was really worry-free. They had gambled previously. They didn't expect to be stuck again. I'll bet 10,000 heaven divine ranges. It was still that straightforward God Son, Tianhu. I don't believe that you can win again. I'm placing this bet. Tianhu was a forthright person. He was able to accept Sky Dragon's challenge. Tianhu had a good impression of Lin Fei, since he could agree so readily. The God Sons who had lost previously did not hesitate and made another bet. To them, divine veins weren't something that they cared too much about. Therefore, they placed a lot of bets this time. They didn't believe that Lin Fei would continue to win. Moreover, they were very confident against the 6 invincible God Emperors this time. Di Tian definitely couldn't suppress them alone. In less than a moment, he obtained another 3 to 400,000 divine ranges. Lin Fei smiled happily. We can attack now. As the Supreme Demon Emperor's voice fell, his aura soared into the sky. He threw a punch at the restricted zone. The huge restricted zone shook and was opened. Dust flew everywhere in the huge restricted zone. The other 4 restricted zone lords also attacked one after another. The 5 restricted zone lords were the first to make a move. Their aura was shocking. The God Sons behind secretly revealed a trace of fear. The strength of these 5 restricted zone lords is really not an ordinary kind of powerful. Lin Fei, who was standing at the back, secretly marveled at the powerful strength of the restricted zone lords. No wonder they could open up a restricted zone. As the 5 restricted zone lords took the lead to make a move, a huge wave was set off in the entire restricted zone. For a moment, Lin Fei couldn't see the figures of the 5 restricted zone lords. It turned out that they had charged into the innermost zone. Boom! Boom! Suddenly, a terrifying torrent rose in the restricted zone. From inside to outside, it crushed everything in its path. With a thought from Lin Fei, a black hole appeared. Even though he was still in his original position, he was actually separated by layers of space. The black torrent surged over and disappeared into the black hole. Lin Fei focused his gaze. The godsons were all resisting the torrent. What a terrifying attack! Lin Fei could clearly sense the power of the torrent. This must be the work of the 5 strongest restricted zone lords. Demon Monarch Fei Yang, you've been dead for so long. It's time to contribute your restricted zone. The Supreme Demon Emperor's voice came from above the restricted zone. Following this, the 5 restricted zone lords appeared one after another. At this moment, they were attacking an expressionless corpse. Lin Fei focused his gaze and saw that it was a corpse dressed in luxurious clothing. Even though he was dead, his flesh and blood remained the same. His body still contained a terrifyingly powerful qi and blood. Once he turned into a corpse, his qi and blood would disappear. In the end, the corpse would decay and turn into a skeleton. The corpse before him was completely different from the corpses he usually saw. The terrifying qi and blood were incredibly powerful. A few gusts of wind swept across the place. The 5 restricted zone lords were knocked flying. Demon Monarch Fei Yang is still so strong, even after his death? Lin Fei took a deep breath. It was his first time seeing a god monarch, even though it was just a corpse. The corpse was too extraordinary. Even from a distance away, Lin Fei could still sense the powerful qi and blood coming at him. If it weren't for the black hole, the qi and blood would suffocate him to death. All of you deserve to die. The expressionless demon monarch Fei Yang fought with his bare hands. He fully displayed his undefeatable aura. He did not seem to be at a disadvantage when fighting against the 5 restricted zone lords on his own. In fact, he even had the upper hand. Attack! As the 5 restricted zone lords were attacking Demon Monarch Fei Yang, the other 15 restricted zone lords made their moves too, bringing the God Emperors with them. The restricted zone where Demon Monarch Fei Yang was at was incredibly powerful. Chapter 1994. Every forbidden zone had a huge number of experts. They had already merged with the lords of the forbidden zones. In order to attack a forbidden zone, they had to eliminate all the experts. Luckily, the experts maintained their attacks and lost their consciousness. The 15 lords of the forbidden zones were the first to charge forward. As soon as they made their move, they activated the force of the heavens and earth and destroyed a group of guards. The god princes began to make their moves. They controlled the force of the heavens and earth and killed their way forward. Lin Fei was among them too. He controlled the force of space and turned it into spears, shattering the incoming guards. He could kill a huge number of guards within a breath's time. Even so, the guards of the forbidden zones were still densely packed. Fortunately, they were the strongest among them. They were able to withstand the consumption. 6 invincible god emperors. Are they the last ones to show up? Lin Fei did not stand out too much. Lin Fei learned from the Supreme Demon Monarch that there were a lot of good stuff in the forbidden zones of Demon Monarch Fei Yang. Lin Fei was not worried about the 15 main vanguards of the forbidden zones. The invincible god emperors would show up anyway, so there was no need to rush. The main vanguards of the forbidden zones. The battle went on very quickly. It was easy for Lin Fei to kill the guards since they maintained their basic attacks. The group continued to push forward. Large numbers of guards were shattered into pieces. Lin Fei clearly knew that without the help of the lords of the forbidden zones, they would not be able to make it in so easily. The Tao Guardian Tombs. As they pushed forward, Lin Fei focused his gaze and saw 6 tombs outside a mountain. The god princes were the most excited when they saw the 6 tombs. Those must be the tombs of the invincible god emperors. According to the supreme demon monarch Feiyang had relied on the protection of the Tao Guardians to rise into the sky and become a god monarch. The 6 Tao Guardians had contributed a lot. The mountain must be the palace of demon monarch Feiyang. Lin Fei analyzed. 6 tombs. I'll choose the outermost one. Lin Fei set his eyes on one of the tombs. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Lin Fei would not hold back, now that the tombs had appeared. He sprinted toward the tombs. The other divine princes were not to be trifled with. They all rushed towards the tomb. Vanish! Lin Fei released a large amount of spatial energy, enveloping the entire tomb. Hairball also rushed out, her huge body moving back and forth. Colliding with the divine suns forced them to be cautious. Without a doubt, Lin Fei had seized the initiative. World Cage! When they were about to get close, a divine sun threw out a heaven and earth cage, which was enveloped by the boundless will of heaven and earth. He stopped Lin Fei from entering. It can isolate the power of space. Lin Fei was actually trapped. Normally, this would be inconceivable. Now, the one who had appeared was a divine son of the human race. Lin Fei had never thought of the god children as simple as they were. This was especially so when he heard from the supreme devil emperor that the powerful god children had grasped the power of the heavenly Tao. Their strength had increased tremendously and were extremely terrifying. For example, the cage of heaven and earth was clearly the power of the heavenly Tao. Open! Lin Fei used his hand as a knife and attacked the cage of heaven and earth. The huge cage kept shaking, and he broke it with 3 consecutive slashes. The spatial energy that Lin Fei had set up didn't let them have a good time. They didn't have it easy either. Quite a few divine princes were transferred out. So fast, they actually went in. Lin Fei glanced and saw the divine sun, heavenly dragon, riding the fire Qilin, breaking open the tomb and rushing in. On the other side, the 9 Heavens Phoenix didn't hesitate either. She also successfully rushed in with raging flames. I have to speed up too. Lin Fei waved his hand, and millions of divine venerables descended. They stood in front of everyone. The appearance of this wave of divine venerables caught everyone off guard. Lin Fei rushed in. Boom! Boom! As soon as he entered, an invincible aura hit him head-on. Lin Fei's body shook slightly as he saw the inside of the tomb. An invincible divine emperor in armor, holding a Xianhua axe, was fighting with 8 divine princes. The invincible aura when he first came in was released from the armor of the invincible divine emperor. Those who were slightly weaker would definitely be crushed to death by the invincible aura. The aura of an invincible divine emperor was that terrifying. Also, the entire tomb was filled with the oppressive energy of the invincible divine emperor. Whoosh! 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 As soon as Lin Fei came in, the 8 divine princes gave up on attacking and all retreated. They flashed with cold light and charged at Lin Fei. Heavenly Tao, slow! Suddenly, a wave of energy attacked. The heavenly Tao seemed to have a hint of pressure. Damn it, I'm cheating. Lin Fei dodged very quickly, but he was still hit and slowed down. Ha ha ha, Di Tian, you didn't expect us to deal with you first, did you? Divine Prince Tianqi laughed. This move of the heavenly Tao was his doing. When a person's speed slowed down, all advantages were gone. In particular, the slowing power on his opponent was extremely terrifying. It contained the power of the heavenly Tao, and Lin Fei couldn't get rid of it right away. Heavenly Tao num. Another divine prince, Tian Xiong, snickered and displayed the terrifying power of the heavenly Tao. Lin Fei knew why the supreme demon emperor told him to be careful of the divine princes. As expected, The strength of these divine princes had increased greatly. The power of the heavenly Tao they controlled was really insane. F***CK. First it was the slowing, now it's numbing. Those geniuses outside are furious. Lin Fei cursed in his mind. He had no choice. This power was too strong. Luckily, Lin Fei wasn't that easy to deal with. Even though he had been hit by the slowing power and was being suppressed by the heavenly Tao, Lin Fei's spatial power was still unimpeded. Whoosh! 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 Lin Fei dodged the attacks of the 8 divine princes. He was still a bit slow. He immediately activated his invincible defense. Damn it, come on! Even though he was hit by all kinds of heavenly Tao power, they were all blocked by the invincible defense. He went straight to the invincible divine emperor. Get in here! To subdue the invincible divine emperor in the shortest time, Lin Fei could only use the system space to forcibly take the invincible divine emperor, lest he fall into the hands of others. There were 6 invincible divine emperors. Lin Fei couldn't waste time here. He used the system to take away the invincible divine emperor as soon as he arrived. Rushing to the front of the invincible divine emperor, Lin Fei suffered an attack and consumed a lot of divinity points. Lin Fei didn't care. He opened the system space. An invincible divine emperor struggled a little and was taken in. Ding, the creature is too powerful, needs to be suppressed. Ding, the creature is too powerful, needs to be suppressed. As soon as the invincible divine emperor was taken in, the system issued a warning. Lin Fei took a look and saw the invincible divine emperor attacking the system space. Each of his punches carried invincible power, and the system space was also temporarily unstable. Suppress it with force. Whoosh! Whoosh! A huge amount of divinity points were instantly used up. Refine it again. Lin Fei secretly breathed a sigh of relief. As long as he didn't come out on the spot, he could suppress it with a huge amount of divinity points. While he was distracted, the sky was full of attacks. Boom! Boom! Chapter 1995. When the invincible divine emperor was forcibly taken in by the system, the 8 divine princes were shocked and felt that it was unbelievable. Di Tian had taken in an invincible divine emperor. What kind of joke was this? That was an invincible divine emperor. They had never heard of any treasure that could take in an invincible divine emperor. However, the most unbelievable thing happened right in front of them. They had to believe it. Quick, kill Di Tian. Divine Prince Tianqi was furious. It wasn't easy to make Di Tian fall into the trap, but he could still take away the invincible divine emperor. This was unforgivable. The invincible God Emperor must be suppressed by the treasure. Di Tian needs divine power to suppress it, and his strength must be greatly affected. Everyone, let's kill him together. The god's son Tianxiong shouted loudly, and a hint of joy flashed in his eyes. They all knew how powerful Di Tian was. Now that they had a chance to injure him, they were all happy to attack. Most of Lin Fei's divine power was used to suppress and refine the invincible divine emperor, while the rest was used to support the invincible defense. His divinity points evaporated like water. Everyone felt sorry for him. Lin Fei had no choice. Fortunately, he had a lot of divine meridians, so he could withstand it. Bang, bang, bang. The 8 heavenly laws were upheld by the invincible defense. Of course, Lin Fei had to pay a lot of divinity points for this. Wama Pagoda! Lin Fei took out the emperor treasure and smashed it on divine Prince Tianqi, sending him flying. The power of an emperor treasure was terrifying. He injured divine Prince Tianqi with one attack. No one expected that Lin Fei could withstand the attack and be completely unharmed. The Wanma Pagoda smashed towards divine Prince Tianxiong. He went in front of another divine prince and punched him. Do you really think I'm easy to bully? He kicked again, sending the divine prince flying and smashing him into a stone pillar. The entire tomb moved with him. With the invincible defense activated, Lin Fei turned into an invincible existence. No attack could hurt him at all. Time elapsed. Lin Fei once again unleashed a powerful move. The time elapse swept over them like the wind. The 8 divine princes' expressions changed drastically. Get out! With a single sweep, thousands of years had been taken away. The 8 divine princes weren't fools. They knew that Di Tian wasn't easy to deal with. In fact, he was even more difficult to deal with than they had imagined. To think that Di Tian could withstand the power of the heavenly Daos and wasn't affected at all. Their heavenly Daos were being suppressed limitlessly. That was a very bad sign. Several divine princes left. Tian Qi, the divine sun, the divine sons, and the heavenly ferocious beasts left as well. Invincible defense is still the best. Lin Fei secretly heaved a sigh of relief. It turned out that the divine son was also afraid of death. Taking away a few thousand years of his lifespan was not a small loss. In the system space, the divinity points were consumed even faster. The invincible divine emperor's retaliation grew stronger and stronger. Burn! 100,000 heaven rank divine veins instantly ignited and turned into a huge amount of divinity points. During this time, 20% of the divinity points were wasted, leaving only 80%. 80% of the divinity points were used up in one go. The invincible God Emperor's reaction was much slower, and the system's refinement of the invincible God Emperor had improved a lot. Not enough. Still not enough. The power of 100,000 heaven rank divine veins could only last for a short while. Lin Fei ignited 100,000 divine veins again and used it 5 times in one go. He used 500,000 heaven rank divine veins, but he still couldn't stop the invincible God Emperor's resistance. Small saint rank divine veins burn. Lin Fei gritted his teeth. To subdue the invincible God Emperor, he had to use a small saint rank divine veins to suppress him in one go. Only then could the system take the opportunity to complete the refinement. The huge amount of divinity points was pressed down again. This time, the invincible God Emperor's resistance slowed down. The refinement data flew up. Saint rank divine veins are still the best. Although Lin Fei felt a heartache, he was still very satisfied with using them to suppress the invincible God Emperor. He didn't mind using a single saint rank divine vein to let the system refine the invincible God Emperor. Lin Fei activated another saint rank divine vein. After suppressing the invincible God Emperor's final resistance, the refinement was close to 100. It's finally done. When the system finally showed 100, Lin Fei breathed a sigh of relief. If they had stopped me just now, it wouldn't have been easy for me to refine the invincible God Emperor so quickly. Now that they came in again, they would probably be dumbfounded. Lin Fei waved his hand, and the invincible God Emperor appeared in front of him. The invincible God Emperor was expressionless. That kind of invincible might was enough to make one's heart tremble. From the beginning, Lin Fei didn't plan to rely on force to suppress the invincible God Emperor. What a joke! This kind of invincible God Emperor basically couldn't be suppressed with force. If he really used force, it would definitely be a big problem. Later, after the system studied it, it found another way to refine it. The premise was that there must be enough divine veins. There was no doubt that Lin Fei was very rich, but he also paid a high price to refine the invincible God Emperor, and this was under the condition that the invincible God Emperor was unconscious. I think I'm the first person to refine an invincible God Emperor. Lin Fei was very happy. They're coming in again. Suddenly, Lin Fei smiled. He had mastered the power of space and was most sensitive to spatial fluctuations. For example, now more than 20 people came in from outside. Di Tian, you're really shameless. How dare you use this method to fool us? Divine Prince Tian Qi rushed in. Now, don't think you can fool us. The Divine Prince had just gone out, but on second thought he realized that he had been tricked, so he came back again. No matter what, He couldn't let Tian succeed. That was an invincible God Emperor, and also the best path protector. As soon as they came in, they cursed at Lin Fei and didn't notice the invincible God Emperor next to him. After all, they didn't think that Tian could refine the invincible God Emperor in a short time. "You're too late." Lin Fei shook his head. "Path protector, kill him." The invincible God Emperor's eyes lit up, and he grabbed Godchild Tianqi with a single hand. With a speed so fast that it was impossible to detect, he punched Godchild Tianqi's head, causing it to explode like a watermelon. The invincible God Emperor is really fierce. Lin Fei was very satisfied with this attack. After blowing up Divine Prince Tianqi's head with one move, the invincible God Emperor quickly went in front of another Divine Prince and punched a big hole, from which blood gushed out. After all, they were all standing together. At such a close distance, the Divine Princes became punching bags. The Divine Princes were dumbfounded. In such a short time, Tian had suppressed the invincible God Emperor and obtained the ability to control him. Then everyone's heart sank. Run! The invincible God Emperor kept coming in and out, blood spilling everywhere. No one could stop the attacks of the invincible God Emperor. However, every time they were about to kill the Divine Princes, they would be teleported away by some kind of power, so they missed the opportunity. Could it be the work of the heavenly law? Lin Fei touched his chin. If it was like this for one Divine Prince, 2 Divine Princes, and 3 Divine Princes, then it would be abnormal. Lin Fei couldn't help but suspect this. Chapter 1996. Lin Fei felt that it must be the work of the heavenly Tao. The God Princes were lucky enough to escape, but the God Emperors who came down were not so lucky. They were like lambs in front of the invincible God Emperors and were slaughtered. The Path Protector is really powerful. It's a pity that his current strength is probably less than 30% of his former strength. Lin Fei couldn't help but shake his head. An invincible God Emperor at his peak was even more terrifying. He could kill a God Emperor in a single move. But now he was far from it. Lin Fei felt that it was a pity, but he was still very satisfied. An invincible God Emperor. With an invincible God Emperor, Lin Fei planned to use the system to research on invincible God Emperors and see if he could create an invincible God Emperor. Everyone went out. Lin Fei wasn't in a hurry to go out. He was the safest down here. Let's search first. Lin Fei searched the tomb. He couldn't find anything. He couldn't help but feel a little disappointed. You're an invincible God Emperor after all. You should have some wealth. Could it be that someone robbed you? Lin Fei thought that it was unlikely. An invincible God Emperor. Even if he only had 30% of his strength left, it wasn't something that anyone could take away. His worth was undeniable. A storage ring. Unwilling to give up, he searched again and really found a blood-colored storage ring in a stone coffin. Lin Fei broke the seal in a few moves and obtained control of the blood-colored storage ring. Good stuff. Looking at it with his divine sense, Lin Fei was overjoyed. The price of refining and suppressing the invincible God Emperor has been paid back, and it's a big one. Lin Fei's face was full of joy. It couldn't be helped. He had gained too much. The pile of God veins made Lin Fei's eyes green with envy. There are a total of 20 medium-sized saint-level God veins. What a tycoon! Lin Fei stared at the God veins like a crouching dragon and drooled. He felt the pinch when he used up 2 small-sized saint-level God veins. He didn't expect to get 20 medium-sized God veins in the blink of an eye. How could Lin Fei not be happy? Emperor artifact. In the storage ring, Lin Fei also found a blood-colored saber. The Emperor's might flowing around him was even better than the 10,000 demon pagoda. The sharp aura caused people's hearts to turn cold. A monarch weapon used by a God Emperor. Lin Fei's eyes lit up as he took it out. The blood-red imperial weapon fell into his hand. He raised his saber intent and cut through the void. Fortunately, Lin Fei activated his invincible defense and was injured. What a sharp monarch weapon! It is even more powerful than an emperor treasure. It just so happens that I lack a sharp weapon on hand, and this emperor weapon is the most suitable. Lin Fei was very satisfied. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The blood-colored imperial weapon was extremely tyrannical as it sliced through the void. Lin Fei stretched out his hand and grabbed the saber hilt. Saber intent filled the air as the blood-colored sovereign armament tried to struggle free. Refine. He refined 200,000 divine veins and suppressed the blood-red sovereign armament. You still want to resist? Follow me, and I guarantee that your name will spread all over the world. Lin Fei continued to burn his divine veins. He was very clear on how to deal with an emperor weapon. It was nothing more than consuming a large number of divinity points. Now that he obtained an invincible God Emperor's treasure, Lin Fei went from a small tycoon to a big tycoon. He could afford it. After a moment of stalemate, consuming 1,000,000 divine veins and a Saint Divine vein, Lin Fei finally subdued this emperor weapon. It wasn't easy. Lin Fei knew the terror of an emperor weapon from a long time ago. To be called an emperor weapon, it was a weapon that had followed a god emperor all the way. It was truly the #1 weapon. An emperor treasure was slightly inferior. It never crossed Lin Fei's mind that this invincible divine emperor would possess a monarch weapon. Think about the identity of an invincible god emperor. It was nothing more than being unable to cross the final step to become a god emperor. However, their battle prowess could contend against a god emperor. After all, a god emperor was not invincible. They were also the strongest. Lin Fei knew better than anyone that a god emperor was only the peak of this era. However, among the god emperors there was still a terrifying existence, and that was an invincible god emperor. They were truly invincible. This was the peak of an era. An invincible god emperor's battle prowess was comparable to a god emperor's. Inside the storage ring of the invincible god emperor, Lin Fei was not surprised to find an emperor weapon, Blood Fiend. After refining it, the monarch weapon sent him a message. The monarch weapon had a name, Blood Fiend. Nice name. Lin Fei liked it even more. Lin Fei happened to be in need of a weapon. An emperor weapon. It was definitely the best. With this emperor weapon, who would dare to fight me in close combat? Lin Fei was not interested in ordinary weapons, even god emperor weapons, as it was not convenient for him to use them. The Blood Fiend monarch weapon was definitely suitable for him. After putting the storage ring away, Lin Fei was more interested in the 5 tombs, as there might be something good inside. Lin Fei came out from the tombs. The 5 masters of the forbidden areas were nowhere to be seen, and so was Demon Monarch Fei Yang. Lin Fei took a quick glance. He was not surprised at all. Their battle was not something ordinary people could participate in. The battle in the forbidden areas was still ongoing. A master of the forbidden areas glanced over and immediately exclaimed, "Guardian!" Everyone turned to look at him, and their faces darkened. Everyone could sense the aura. They did not expect Di Tian to refine the invincible God Emperor in such a short period of time and bring him along with him. Wasn't that too fast? No one believed Di Tian was able to suppress an invincible God Emperor. For a split second, everyone wondered if the invincible God Emperor was just a facade. Otherwise, how could he be refined so easily? Lin Fei was too lazy to look at their expressions. He brought his best fighter and went into another tomb. Lin Fei did not think the title Guardian sounded better than best fighter. Lin Fei went into the tomb. The battle inside was not over yet. Over 20 experts surrounded the invincible God Emperor, and there were a lot of corpses left behind by the invincible God Emperor. No one noticed Lin Fei bringing the invincible God Emperor in. After all, they could not afford to be distracted when dealing with the guardian of the invincible God Emperor. I'm sorry, but this invincible God Emperor is mine. Lin Fei coughed dryly, and his voice echoed in the tomb. The invincible God Emperor, the Golden Fighter, controlled a powerful force and punched out. Caught off guard, the 20-odd experts surrounding him were all sent flying, vomiting blood nonstop. A few weaker God Emperors were smashed to pieces on the spot. They probably died sullenly and died without an intact corpse. Lin Fei came in front of the invincible God Emperor, activated the system, and kept the invincible God Emperor inside. He refined 3 Saint-grade divine veins in one fell swoop and forcefully suppressed the invincible God Emperor. This time, Lin Fei did not give the other party a chance to resist. Isn't it just 3 Saint-grade divine veins? It's nothing. Lin Fei did not care anymore. In a few breaths' time, the siege ended and Lin Fei took the lead. The god princes who were sent flying came back to their senses and were surprised to see Ditian. Especially when they saw the invincible God Emperor standing next to him, they all revealed a look of disbelief. That was the Guardian. How could Ditian suppress and control him? What the hell? Chapter 1997. Lin Fei threw down this sentence. Either get lost or die. It was that simple. Lin Fei really wanted this invincible divine emperor's Tao protector. No matter who it was, they could forget about stopping him from getting it. Moreover, now that the invincible divine emperor had been taken away by his system, there was a huge amount of divinity points to suppress him. The invincible divine emperor was his. After a brief moment of absent-mindedness, everyone came back to their senses. They were all furious. What are you afraid of? The invincible divine emperor is not someone you can suppress. A divine son said sternly, "Everyone attack together and kill Ditian." The divine sons were all arrogant, but they wouldn't throw away their lives. With the invincible divine emperor in charge, it wasn't that easy to kill Ditian. Kill him, Lin Fei ordered. The invincible divine emperor attacked. His fists were like rainbows as he charged into the enemy's group like a wolf or tiger. Without the attacks of the divine sons, it will be much easier to suppress and refine them. Lin Fei thought to himself. The invincible divine emperor killed several divine emperors in a moment. The corpses fell. Only then did the divine sons realize that Ditian was bragging. He really controlled the invincible divine emperor. They ran out one by one. They had no choice but to run. The invincible divine emperor was here. They couldn't win at all. They were all beaten until they vomited blood. Got it. Lin Fei smiled in satisfaction when he saw the divine sons leave. Just as I guessed, the divine sons are protected by the heavenly Tao. If you want to kill them, you have to do it in the shortest time possible before the heavenly Tao returns. Lin Fei stared at them. He finally gained something. His observation wasn't in vain. He knew some clues about the divine sons. Lin Fei understood. The next time he dealt with the divine sons, he definitely wouldn't let them leave. With a huge amount of divinity points, the invincible divine emperor couldn't resist. Soon it was subdued by Lin Fei. The second Tao protector was in his hands. Come out. The invincible divine emperor appeared beside Lin Fei, one on the left and one on the right like a guardian general, although it's only 30% of its strength. But it can also leave countless people in the dust. Lin Fei really wanted to see what divine child Tianlong's expression would be like. Aren't you awesome? Let's see how many protectors you can get. After a moment of reverie, Lin Fei began to search. What a treasure! As usual, he found another storage ring in the stone coffin. Another monarch weapon. This is great. It was a black axe, completely black in color. It was suffused with luster, and at the same time, its killing intent was chilly. This was a vicious axe that drank blood. Suppress him! As soon as he took it out, the black axe resisted. With the previous blood fiend incident, this time, Lin Fei easily suppressed it and smoothly took control of it. Purgatory. Good name. This black axe was called Purgatory. With the two monarch weapons in hand, Lin Fei's mood became even better. What? It's over. In the third tomb, the invincible divine emperor had not been suppressed yet. He was suppressed by Tiansong, who was ranked in the top 10. Hearing the words of the other divine children, Tiansong was very surprised. That guy was the first to subdue the invincible divine emperor. What kind of joke was this? In the third tomb, Tiansong defeated his opponent and successfully occupied the tomb. He was refining the invincible divine emperor and was naturally very unhappy when he heard the news. That guy has successfully taken the lead again. Hearing this, Tiansong was angry. He was a powerful existence among the divine children. Why was there a Di Tian who was even more famous than him? It was simply unreasonable. Not good. Di Tian will come in. Tiansong reacted quickly. The expressions of the other divine children changed drastically. If he came in at this time, their efforts to refine the invincible divine emperor would be in vain. It was definitely not a good thing. I don't think Di Tian will come now. Subduing the invincible divine emperor is not a matter of beauty. Subduing the first one. He's lucky that he wants to subdue continuously. He won't be able to do so. The divine children who used their divine power snorted and said. In fact, they were jealous in their hearts. It was really infuriating to compare with others. Anything that happened to Di Tian wasn't a good thing. If possible, they didn't want to run into Di Tian at all. Lin Fei led the two invincible divine emperors into the third tomb. He saw the group of divine children refining the invincible divine emperor together. He was very happy. Everyone is busy. Lin Fei greeted them with a smile as soon as he arrived. However, in their eyes, this smile was equivalent to the smile of a demon. It was definitely not a smile. *CK, he really refined it. How did he refine it? The guardians of two invincible divine emperors. Is there any justice in this world? One had to admit that Lin Fei was very eye-catching with two invincible divine emperor's guardians by his side. It was hard not to notice him. Tiansong smiled bitterly. He didn't want Di Tian to come, but he didn't expect him to really come. Could it be that he had to give up the guardians of the invincible divine emperors? The divine son, Tiansong, was unwilling to accept this. Immediately, a divine child shouted, Di Tian, what are you doing here? This place doesn't welcome you. Lin Fei had an impression of the divine child who shouted. He had lost a lot of divine veins to him in the bet. Every time, he didn't have a good expression. That's right. Di Tian, you better leave this place immediately. This place is not for you. They were all refining the invincible divine emperor. At this time, they couldn't attack and could only shout. The few powerful divine emperors were also frightened by the invincible divine emperors. They didn't have the courage to fight back. Lin Fei laughed. Who do you think you are? How dare you ask me to leave? I think the ones who should leave should be you. Everyone was furious. Tiansong stared at Lin Fei and said, Di Tian, I have my eyes on this invincible divine emperor. Please don't interfere. This isn't a good thing for you. At this time, Tiansong's hands were sweating. The two invincible divine emperors were under a lot of pressure. If they attacked, all their efforts would be in vain. They wouldn't get anything and would have wasted their efforts. Lin Fei shook his head. You are mistaken. I am also very interested in this invincible divine emperor. As for whether he is good or not, that is my own business. I don't need you to tell me. Now get out of my way. The two Dao protectors on the left and right charged forward. One of them held the blood fiend, while the other held the purgatory. Once the emperor weapons were out, who could fight against them? The divine child exclaimed, Dodge! It's the emperor weapons. When the two emperor weapons were out, it was very eye-catching. It made people's scalps go numb. The invincible divine emperor in the middle rushed out. The divine child was sent flying, including Tiansong. His face turned green. Di Tian, I'm not done with you. Lin Fei didn't care. The two Tao protectors were already powerful. Now that they had emperor weapons in their hands, they were about to break down. Capture Divine Sun Song Tian. Lin Fei didn't find the storage ring, so he ordered the invincible divine emperors to kill Tian Song. The entire tomb space was instantly sealed by Lin Fei. Chapter 1998. Divine Sun Tian Song was very powerful, but under the suppression of the imperial weapon, he was quickly defeated. The path protector of an invincible divine emperor was already very powerful. Now that he had the imperial weapon, he was like a tiger that had grown wings. He had no choice but to be awe-inspiring. Lin Fei wasn't going to keep it. After all, it was very powerful. A single imperial weapon could suppress someone. Where else could he find such a good thing? Lin Fei simply gave the imperial weapon to the path protector to increase his strength. With the weapon, his original 30% of combat power became 70%. He was even more powerful than before. He suppressed them all the way without being able to fight back. After resisting 2 attacks from the invincible divine emperor, Lin Fei waved his hand and put the invincible divine emperor away. Divine Sun Tian Song was dumbfounded. That was possible. That was an invincible divine emperor. Wasn't he afraid that the invincible divine emperor would escape? But after the invincible divine emperor went in, there was no more movement. After a while, the invincible divine emperor appeared and stood behind him obediently. Divine Sun Tian Song vomited blood. How could this be? That was the path protector of an invincible divine emperor, but he had been subdued in a few moves. Divine Sun Tian Song felt that this was too unbelievable. After all, invincible divine emperors weren't nobodies. The truth was right in front of him. Divine Sun Tian Song had no choice but to believe it. Previously, Divine Sun Tian Song had always thought that Lin Fei was just a lucky guy. Now, it seemed that it wasn't luck at all. It was proof of his strength. As a divine son, he had no pride at all. This Di Tian was like his nemesis. Divine Sun Tian Song had thought that he would be in the limelight this time. It would be great if he could suppress Divine Sun Tianlong. But the blow in front of him made Divine Sun Tian Song feel helpless. How is it? How's my ability compared to yours? Lin Fei smiled. Divine Sun Tian Song said bitterly, "You're stronger than us. We all underestimated you." He had obtained the 3rd invincible divine emperor. Lin Fei was very satisfied. You divine sons have high standards and look down on this. In fact, you don't have anything to be smug about. I'm in a good mood right now. Hand over the storage ring you got from the stone coffin, and I let you go. You're not going to kill me. Divine Sun Tiansong was being suppressed by the invincible divine emperor. How boring would it be to kill you all? Lin Fei laughed. Moreover, even if I wanted to kill you, the heavenly Tao behind you wouldn't agree. Divine Prince Tiansong had a strange look in his eyes. So you know something. No wonder you don't dare to kill him. Tiansong said, However, I advise you not to go against us divines, because you're bound to suffer a crushing defeat. Lin Fei shook his head. Your godson only knows how to threaten people. It's really boring. Let me ask you, are you giving it to me or not? Under Lin Fei's sharp gaze, Divine Sun Tiansong did not dare to refuse. 2 invincible divine emperors with sovereign weapons. It was definitely unbearable. Then, Divine Sun Tiansong threw out a storage ring of the same quality as before. Lin Fei scanned it with his divine sense. There was indeed a sovereign weapon inside. You're quite honest. I like it. Lin Fei laughed. Divine Sun Tiansong thought to himself, if it weren't for the invincible divine emperors, do you think a divine son like me would be so obedient? Lin Fei kept his word. The invincible divine emperor returned to his side. All right, you can leave now. Divine Sun Tiansong looked at Di Tian. You've been in the limelight this time, but you'll soon become a public enemy. Public enemy? Lin Fei chuckled. What's there to be afraid of? At most, I'll just kill you. Lin Fei was very clear. This time, he had ruined the Divine Son's plan. At that time, there would definitely be a lot of people who would dislike him. Especially with the sovereign weapon in hand, those old monsters hiding behind the scenes would most likely make a move. Lin Fei sneered. Actually, there's nothing to be afraid of. Now that I have 3 invincible divine emperors and 3 sovereign weapons, my combat power can be restored to about 70%. If I get the system to find a way to restore 100% of my combat power, no matter how many people come, they'll just be sending themselves to death. Lin Fei had nothing to worry about against the Divine Son's threat. After packing his things, he came out of the tomb again. This time, Lin Fei entered the 4th tomb with the invincible Divine Emperor. However, it was disappointing this time. The invincible Divine Emperor had been taken away. Could it be Divine Son Tianlong? That was the first person he thought of. Among the many Divine Sons, Divine Son Tianlong had the most trump cards, so it was normal for him to subdue invincible Divine Emperors. What a pity! Lin Fei ran to the 5th and 6th tombs again. Unfortunately, the invincible Divine Emperors were gone, and he didn't see any Divine Sons. He searched the place thoroughly, but he still couldn't find anyone. Lin Fei shook his head in disappointment. I've missed 3 invincible Divine Emperors. However, Lin Fei had returned to normal. There was nothing for him to be unhappy about, since he had earned the most. The Divine Sons must be the ones that were unhappy, especially the Divine Sons who were ranked in the top 10. They must be having a hard time, as they had missed a great opportunity. By the way, could they have gone to the treasure vault? Lin Fei suddenly recalled something. He could go to the treasure vault of Demon Monarch Feiyong after subduing an invincible Divine Emperor. Lin Fei slapped his forehead. How did he forget about it? Lin Fei had gone to 3 tombs in a row after subduing the first invincible Divine Emperor. He had the urge to subdue all the invincible Divine Emperors and forget about something important. Lin Fei turned around and left. Demon Monarch Feiyong was deep inside the forbidden area. The 3 invincible Divine Emperors cleared a path for him. Lin Fei swaggered forward. How nice it was to have a top-notch fighter. He didn't have to worry about anything. Lin Fei was left speechless by the sharpness of the Monarch weapons. This was simply a deadly weapon. His powerful divine body was destroyed with a single attack. Lin Fei was relieved. If the invincible Divine Emperors were holding the Monarch weapons, he would have to spend a lot more God points. It would not be as easy as it was now. To Lin Fei, this distance was no longer distance. Lin Fei went deeper into the treasure vault. He saw a huge stone door from afar. In front of the door were 6 statues. They were the 6 invincible Divine Emperors holding their weapons. Meanwhile, a lot of people had gathered in front of the stone door. Lin Fei was amused. They were all familiar faces. They all had unpleasant looks on their faces as they glanced at him with sharp eyes, as if they were going to kill him. It seems like they are holding a grudge against me for robbing their invincible Divine Emperors. Lin Fei thought, but he wasn't too bothered. They were just a bunch of Divine Sons. Hee. As a matter of fact, the Divine Sons were not in a good mood. When they heard that Di Tian had subdued 3 invincible Divine Emperors as his protectors, they did not believe it at first. Di Tian? However, they had no choice but to believe it when they heard the news. There was no reason for the Divine Sons to lie. Chapter 1999. Many of these divine princes were divine princes who had been defeated previously. Looking at them now, Lin Fei could not help but be secretly surprised. Mother of her, the damned heavenly Tao is indeed shameless. To think that it would recover so quickly. Under the attacks of the invincible deity emperors, all of them were injured. Although the invincible deity emperors could not kill them, they could not easily recover their strength. But now, the powers of these remnants had all been restored. They didn't look injured at all. This was especially so for Divine Sun Tiansong, who was standing at the front. His injuries had not been light, but he was now back to normal. Lin Fei naturally suspected that it was the Heavenly Tao's doing. Is everyone welcoming me? Lin Fei stopped and smiled. Apart from the Divine Sun, there was also the Lord of the restricted area. Of course, it wasn't the 5 lords of the top restricted areas, but rather the other 15. Right now, they were all gathered here, looking at Lin Fei with rather unusual gazes. Di Tian, you snatched the invincible Divine Emperor, and you still have the cheek to come here. The first to jump out was the Divine Child, Tian Qi, who was in the first tomb. Previously, he was beaten to the point of vomiting blood, but now he was alive and kicking again. Heaven's Son Tian Qi stared at Lin Fei with a venomous gaze. He originally had a chance to snatch Lin Fei away, but it was ruined by Lin Fei just like that. How could he be willing to accept this? Hey, weren't you beaten until you vomited blood? You recovered quite quickly. I just don't know if you can still jump around this time. Lin Fei said. Divine Sun Tian Qi's face fell. How could you expose someone else's shortcomings like that? Lin Fei did it on purpose. Aren't you awesome? That's what I said. Let's see what you can do to me. Lin Fei's thinking was that simple. If you don't want to be beaten to the point of vomiting blood, then stand aside. Since when is it your turn to speak here? Lin Fei snorted. Look at the others. You're much better than them. If you don't speak, no one will think you're mute. Tian Qi was furious. Di Tian, I'm going to kill you. Lin Fei hooked his finger. Come on. Come on. I haven't killed anyone in a long time. A god's son immediately pulled God's Sun Tian Qi back. God's Sun Tian Qi suddenly understood. I almost fell for it. You wanted to lure me into attacking so that you could kill yourself. You really are vicious. God Sun Tian Qi was arrogant, but he also knew that killing Di Tian was very difficult, especially the 3 invincible divine emperors in front of him. It was as if there were 3 huge mountains pressing down on him, making it hard for him to breathe. Now that someone was pulling him up, God Sun Tian Qi found a way out. Don't pull me. I'll definitely kill you. Although he shouted, he didn't dare to come out. Lin Fei couldn't see through Tian Qi's thoughts. Cough, cough, cough. At this moment, a lord of a restricted area coughed dryly. Congratulations, Dao friend Di Tian. You have 3 Dao protectors now. This lord of the restricted area, Lin Fei had an impression. His name was Void Emperor, and he had greeted him before. What's the matter? Lin Fei lifted his eyelids. Even the Void Emperor felt goosebumps from the gaze. After all, in their imagination, the invincible divine emperors would definitely fall into the hands of the Godson. But they never thought that there would be a bunch of dark horses appearing in the meantime. They were the biggest dark horses, snatching food from the tiger's mouth and robbing 3 invincible divine emperors. Most terrifyingly, they could even refine it. It was hard for them to not be convinced now. The 3 invincible divine emperors were not easy to deal with, especially when they were wielding monarch weapons. They all regretted having a slight chance of winning. Why didn't they help Di Tian earlier? They might have been able to stop Di Tian. Now that Di Tian had 3 invincible divine emperors as his Dao protectors, he was unstoppable. They were slightly weaker in front of Di Tian. After all, the invincible divine emperors were not to be trifled with. Since Dao friend Di Tian is here, let's open Demon Monarch Fei Yang's treasure vault together. Void Emperor said with a smile. Lin Fei shook his head. There's no rush. We'll talk about it after I'm done with my business. A few lords of the restricted areas were unhappy. They were all supporters of the Godson, and they had their own representatives. Yet they had all lost to Di Tian. Thus they were extremely unhappy. Lin Fei's lips curled upward. What's wrong? The lords of the restricted areas might be strong, but Lin Fei was not afraid of them. Besides, he still had the invincible defense. He could just stand there and watch them helplessly. Di Tian, you're quite arrogant. Do you really think we won't dare to do anything to you just because you have 3 invincible divine emperors? Bang! One of the lords of the restricted areas made his move. A formidable energy surged toward Tion. It was the power of the lords of the restricted areas that came crashing down like a mountain. I don't think you're blind either. Another lord of the restricted areas made his move. To the lords of the restricted areas that had lived for a long time, Lin Fei was still a junior. Now that a junior dared to act so presumptuously, the lords of the restricted areas felt extremely uncomfortable. If they did not teach Tion a lesson now, what would happen in the future? Tion might even climb over their heads. They would be fools if they did not make their move now that they had an excuse. In a moment, 6 lords of the restricted areas made their moves. 3 invincible divine emperors wielding imperial weapons broke through their attacks with just one attack, showing their invincible might. They had no choice but to look down on them. Let's join forces to attack the invincible divine emperors. 5 of the lords of the restricted areas suppressed the invincible divine emperors, while the other lord charged toward Lin Fei. Lin Fei also knew this lord of the restricted area. He was called Divine Emperor Destroying Star, and he did not have a good attitude toward him from the beginning. Quake! Divine Emperor Destroying Star was a veteran lord of the restricted areas. The power of this finger was very terrifying. Space was shattered layer by layer. This was already the power of the heavenly Tao, and it was at a very high level with terrifying destructive power. This move of yours won't work. Lin Fei stood still and let the attack land on him. You're old. I'm standing still and you can't hurt me at all. You can wash up and go home to sleep. Lin Fei said disdainfully. The scene in front of them left everyone dumbfounded. After all, few people knew about the invincible defense. These lords of the restricted areas naturally did not know. In the past, when they fought, those people did not pay much attention to it. At most, they thought that he used some kind of treasure and did not understand it at a deeper level. Divine Emperor Destroying Star's face did not look good. Don't be cocky. Failing in one move, Divine Emperor Destroying Star attacked again. One move after another, the power of the restricted areas was constantly mobilized, and the attacks were getting stronger and stronger. Lin Fei was attacking calmly. However, any attack was blocked by the invincible defense. No matter how Divine Emperor Destroying Star attacked, it was useless. I'm old. Lin Fei shook his head. At this moment, the 3 invincible divine emperors forced back the 5 lords of the restricted areas and turned around to attack. Their imperial weapons smashed onto the star, destroying Divine Emperor's body. Who asked this fellow to be so focused on Tion that he didn't notice what happened? Divine Emperor Destroying Star was overjoyed. His powerful divine body was broken by the invincible defense, and his whole body instantly exploded into pieces. The Lord of the restricted area represented the restricted areas, and he would not die so easily. He was revived again. Kill! Kill until he has no strength to recover, Lin Fei ordered. Chapter 2000. Boom! Boom! 3 invincible god emperors, wielding emperor weapons, were ferocious and domineering. One could only say that Star Extermination God Emperor was unlucky. Caught off guard, his body was blasted apart by 3 invincible god emperors working together. The Lord of the Forbidden Zone was very strong, but that was only in his own forbidden zone. Outside, his strength was greatly affected, not to mention that he was in front of 3 invincible god emperors wielding emperor weapons. In the blink of an eye, this powerful Lord of the Forbidden Zone was blasted apart thousands of times. His recovery speed slowed down. Tion, stop! Star Extermination God Emperor wailed. Hurry and tell them to stop. From now on, I won't go against you anymore. Faced with being blasted apart again and again, Star Extermination God Emperor lost all his face. In front of 3 invincible God Emperors, Star Extermination God Emperor had no chance of escaping. As long as he recovered, he would be blasted apart. But after thousands of times, he had exhausted a large amount of God power, causing the Lord of the Forbidden Zone to feel heartache. He was not like other God Emperors. The Lord of the Forbidden Zone's body was blasted apart. To recover, he would need a large amount of God power, which was definitely a terrifying number. Lin Fei sneered. The Lord of the Forbidden Zone now knows how to beg for mercy. Who said that he would teach me a lesson? I have never been polite to those who go against me. Let you go? I won't be so kind. He was secretly pleased. Fortunately, there were 3 invincible God Emperors. Lin Fei was clear about how powerful the Lord of the Forbidden Zone was. Just now, the Lord of the Forbidden Zone had tried to escape several times, but he was blasted apart by the invincible God Emperors. Everything was under control. This feeling was too good. The difference between an invincible God Emperor with 30% battle strength and 70% battle strength was too great. Lin Fei even dared to guarantee that if the 3 invincible God Emperors only had 30% battle strength, the other party would definitely escape. There was no need to think about blasting apart thousands of times. Star Extermination God Emperor was blasted apart once again. The Lord of the Forbidden Zone in the distance revealed a trace of fear. There was nothing more embarrassing than this. Fellow Taoist Ditian, this is just a misunderstanding. Fellow Taoist Star Extermination did not deliberately find trouble with you. Void Emperor was forced to come out. Void Emperor became the mediator. Why don't we just let it go? Fellow Taoist Star Extermination has already suffered anyway. If not for everyone's pleading, Void Emperor really did not want to come out. What was he? The master of a restricted area? He didn't care about the lord of the restricted area at all. The Void Emperor, as the master of the Forbidden Land, did not really care about such a junior. Juniors would always be juniors. If he wanted to grow to his level, he would need a very long time. But now, that was what the Void Emperor Protector thought. Beating up the lords of the Forbidden Zones in public, smashing them again and again. This was no different from rubbing salt in the faces of the lords of the Forbidden Zones. No one expected that Lin Fei would have this type of defensive ability, not even the lord of the restricted region able to break through his defenses, instead suffering a calamity, exploding over 1,000 times. Misunderstanding. Lin Fei shook his head. I don't think this is a misunderstanding. Star Extermination, who had recovered once more, hurriedly said, It's a misunderstanding. I only wanted to spar with you. I'm not trying to deal with you. Actually, Star Extermination Celestial Emperor had a lot of unspeakable bitterness in his heart. When had he ever been in such a sorry state? Even Star Extermination himself had forgotten about it. But this time he had suffered so much at the hands of a junior, exploding his body over 1,000 times in public. In order to not lose face, Star Extermination Celestial Emperor could only choose to lower his head for now. Exploding over 1,000 times was not a big problem. But what if it was 10,000 times, 100,000 times, or 1,000,000 times? Even if he was the lord of the Forbidden Land, he wouldn't be able to withstand it. Lin Fei had beaten up the lord of the Forbidden Land in public, in fact, to prevent the lord of the Forbidden Land from acting rashly. Now that a chicken had jumped out, it was a good opportunity to kill the chicken to warn the monkey. Let's see if you still dare to use your seniority to speak nonsense. Actually, I also feel that this is a misunderstanding. Lin Fei suddenly realized. However, I am not a person who is scared. If you want to compensate me, just barely, 20 small saint rank divine veins per person will do. Asking Lin Fei to let them off so easily, Lin Fei felt that he was letting them off too easily. He had to ruthlessly make them vomit blood. The lord of the Forbidden Land. Would he still care about the divine veins? Void Emperor scolded Ditian for being so shameless. His appetite was so big, asking for small saint ranked divine veins the moment he opened his mouth. I'll give. Star Extermination Celestial Emperor was the first to agree. Lin Fei suddenly said to the 5 lords of the Forbidden Land just now, "You alone won't do. The other 5 must also agree to hand over. Otherwise, I won't agree to stop." The 5 lords of the Forbidden Land's expressions changed. In their hearts, they really did not want to hand over, so they did not speak. Now that Lin Fei had named them, even if they had to tell them, they had to hand it over. Why should we? One of the lords of the Forbidden Land said unhappily. Without waiting for Lin Fei to speak, Star Extermination's Celestial Emperor scolded. "Old thing, if you don't hand it over, I will not let you have peace. Who instigated you to attack just now? To think that you have the cheek to say such words." The other 4 lords of the Forbidden Land's expressions changed drastically. This Ditian was too shameless. With just one sentence, it was as if they had become enemies. This was forcing them to hand over 20 saint-ranked divine veins. Left with no choice, they could only hand it over. This was really lifting a rock to smash their own feet. If possible, they really did not want to make a move. Who knew that Ditian would be so cunning? Without making a move, Star Extermination Celestial Emperor took a big tumble, especially when the 6 of them had conflicts. Star Extermination Celestial Emperor blamed them for not reminding him. The 5 lords of the Forbidden Land indeed did not expect this. Who knew that things would turn out like this? Lin Fei obtained 120 saint-ranked divine veins at once, and he was overjoyed. The divinity points he spent previously were not wasted, and he also buried a thorn between them. If the lords of the Forbidden Land wanted to make a move again, it would not be so easy. Even if they lost, they had to think about the consequences. Lin Fei was relieved. Void Sovereign had to admit that this Ditian was really amazing. With one matter, he planted a seed among the 15 lords of the Forbidden Land. If they really wanted to deal with Ditian, they would not do so casually. To the lords of the Forbidden Land, 20 small saint-ranked divine veins were still very important. If they gave it away just like that, it would be a lie if they did not feel heartache. The Forbidden Land's consumption was huge. With the things in hand, Lin Fei let Star Extermination Celestial Emperor go. This guy would not stay for long and would directly leave. He already had no face to continue staying here. Lin Fei turned around. "God's son Tianlong, you should be the one who lost the bet between us, right?" There was still a debt that had not been collected yet. Lin Fei would not give up so easily. The previous scene was a huge blow to the godson. They saw very clearly that Ditian grasped a terrifying Heaven Dao power. Could it be absolute defense? Absolute defense? This was not going to be easy. The godson's understanding of Ditian stopped at the space and time bloodlines. Now that Ditian grasped a Heaven Dao power that was not inferior to absolute defense, it was even more difficult to deal with him. Chapter 2001. Sky Dragon wasn't in a good mood at the moment. That guy actually won again, and he won so easily too. This even made God Sky Dragon's eyes turn red with envy. He was a god, but there was a huge gap between him and Ditian now. 120 small-sized Saint-class divine meridians were enough to create a terrifying force. Even he couldn't take out so many Saint-class divine meridians at the moment. Another reason was that Ditian had 3 Dao protectors to clear the way. 3 invincible god emperors as Dao protectors. That was extravagant. Sky Dragon wished that he was one of the 3 Dao protectors. He was a dignified god, but he didn't have that fate. This was a very unpleasant thing. This guy had embarrassed him time and time again. Sky Dragon didn't want to admit that he had lost. Sky Dragon sneered. "You said that you were the first to refine a Dao protector. Who knows if it's true? I didn't see it with my own eyes. Everyone, don't you think so?" If it was in the past, everyone might agree with Sky Dragon, but it was different now. Just as God's son Tianlong finished speaking, Lin Fei looked at the crowd indifferently. No one dared to speak. The 3 Dao protectors were staring at them like tigers watching their prey. They did not want to be beaten up just like that. No one supported the divine Sun Sky Dragon's words. In fact, Tian Chi really wanted to support Sky Dragon, even though he didn't like Sky Dragon. After all, Sky Dragon was the #1 divine son. No god was willing to see that. Compared to Sky Dragon's strength, Sky Dragon was more concerned about Lin Fei. This guy was unrestrained and lawless. Who knew if he would let the 3 Dao protectors kill him? See, no one believes you. Lin Fei smiled. You still have something to say. Sky Dragon scolded them for being cowardly. You win. At this stage, even if Sky Dragon was thick-skinned, he couldn't say anything. Di Tian had 3 Dao protectors while he only had 1. He wasn't a match for Lin Fei. He could only swallow his anger and hand over the Saint-class divine meridians. Di Tian, you can go now, right? This time, it was not divine Prince Sky Dragon who spoke. It was neither the illusory emperor nor the star-destroying emperor, but a divine son, the 9 heavens Phoenix Maiden. One of the Dao protectors was on top of the 9 heavens Phoenix Maiden. The 9 heavens Phoenix Maiden said coldly. Lin Fei had no interest in the cold Phoenix Maiden of the 9 heavens. Wait. Lin Fei wasn't someone who couldn't move when he saw a beautiful woman. I think there's something. You have to make it clear. Now, Lin Fei was qualified to speak. With 3 invincible divine emperors in their hands, everyone had no choice but to take them seriously. What is it? The Phoenix Maiden of the 9th heavens was still as cold as ever. I think that after we enter the treasury, I should get 70% of the treasures. Lin Fei said with a smile. By suppressing the lord of the restricted region, Lin Fei's appetite also grew. If he didn't use it himself, he could leave it for the sex people to use. He would definitely get the biggest share. Lin Fei's thinking was that simple. After all, Lin Fei had the upper hand now. The 3 invincible divine emperors were the ones who had the upper hand. No, the divine Prince Sky Dragon refused. Why, you should get 70%. That's right, I don't agree either. The other divine prince, Wu Huan, also shook his head. He was the owner of another Dao protector and had an arrogant expression. The lord of the restricted region was stunned. Only divine Emperor Star Destroying and the others had a hint of joy in their eyes. Di Tian was playing with fire. Lin Fei said lazily, because I have 3 invincible Dao protectors. No one had seen such a smug person. However, they had to admit that Lin Fei had the upper hand on this point. Your appetite is really big. The 9 heavens Phoenix stared at Lin Fei and said. Lin Fei patted his stomach. My appetite is indeed big. Who asked me to have 3 invincible Dao protectors and have the upper hand? Don't you think so? The divine Prince Sky Dragon's killing intent flickered. You're really shameless. Do you think I will agree? Lin Fei shook his head. I don't need your agreement. You just need to know that I have 3 Dao protectors. The divine Prince Sky Dragon's expression turned ugly. After all, this was the main point. The divine prince, Wu Huan, wore a white robe and had an unnatural expression on his arrogant face. 70% is definitely not possible. Lin Fei turned around and was about to leave. I don't mind. Anyway, I've gained a lot today. It doesn't matter whether I enter or not. Everyone agrees. The divine Emperor Star Destroying and the others' expressions turned ugly. The illusory emperor had to admit that Di Tian played this trick too well, forcing everyone to agree. Di Tian was the strongest now, with 3 invincible god emperors in his hands. No one dared to underestimate him. The scariest thing was that Di Tian had mastered some kind of defense that prevented him from being killed. 70% of the benefits? The illusory emperor was also impressed by Di Tian. His appetite was really big. You can't leave. Divine Emperor Star Destroying clenched his teeth. You want me to stay? Lin Fei's lips curled up into a smile. Divine Emperor Star Destroying trembled in discomfort. He squeezed out an ugly smile, Cultivator Dition, you must be joking. Of course not. I just wanted to say that since everyone has finally come here, we should at least go in and take a look. Divine Emperor Star, destroying, had no choice but to lower his voice. He was afraid of Dition. He couldn't defeat Dition, nor could he kill him. What was there left to do? Lin Fei said with a smile, I like what you said. Who doesn't want to take a look at Demon Monarch Fei Yang's treasure vault? I've spent so much effort to get 3 Tao protectors, but I'm not willing to go in just like that. I've sacrificed too much, and there's no way to make up for it. That's why I feel the need to make things clear. The leader of the restricted area frowned slightly. He was not willing to do so. If it wasn't the last resort, they really did not want to deal with Dition. After all, Dition was not easy to deal with, and they would always be the unlucky ones in the end. They could not accept 70% of the loot. In the end, they would still be working for Dition. Dition's words made them even more displeased. This was a typical case of taking advantage of others. With 3 Tao protectors in his hands, what else did he want? He really did not know how to be satisfied. However, they did not say it out loud. How about this? The 4 of you will each take 20%, and the remaining 20% will belong to us, the illusionary emperor said, trying to be the peacemaker again. It was the most suitable way to distribute the loot. Every single item in Demon Monarch Fei Yang's treasure vault was good stuff. 20% was also an endless amount of benefits. In the eyes of the illusionary emperor, Dition simply wanted more benefits. 20% was more than enough. It was also giving him face. Lin Fei would not let them get what they wanted. 20%. Lin Fei said, I think I'll go home. Everyone can do whatever you want. He turned around and was about to leave. The illusionary emperor was startled. 20% of the loot, and you're still not satisfied? How much do you want? Cultivator Dition, wait. The illusionary emperor blocked in front of him. Don't be in such a hurry to leave. We can discuss this. Don't you guys think so? Their replies were weak and feeble. Chapter 2002. No one here was an idiot. How could they not tell the difference? So what even if they could tell the difference? The treasure vault of Demon Monarch Fei Yang required 6 protectors to open it. It was impossible to open it without any of them. The supreme demon monarchs and the others were impressive. They were utterly helpless against Demon Monarch Fei Yang's treasure vault. They could not even open the door. Lin Fei had the most authority now. If they wanted to enter, they would have to listen to Lin Fei's attitude. If he said no, they could only watch helplessly. Kill him? Who could kill Dition? No one could. If they had the ability, they would have done it long ago. Who wouldn't be willing to kill the shameless guy? It was impossible now. The only way left was to negotiate with Lin Fei. They would try their best to fight for it. They had to enter Demon Monarch Fei Yang's treasure vault. The 5 leaders of the Forbidden Zones had lured Demon Monarch Fei Yang's corpse away. If they ended up empty-handed, they would be the unlucky ones. As they cursed Dition in their hearts for being shameless, they had no choice but to discuss the distribution of the loot. Lin Fei remained calm. It felt great to have the upper hand. Every leader of the Forbidden Zones was extremely powerful, yet they had to listen to his opinion. How awesome! Lin Fei had insisted on 70% of the loot since the beginning of the negotiation. Either way, it was the same sentence. I have 3 protectors. These words did not anger them half to death. What was the most lethal sentence? It was undoubtedly this sentence, especially to the Lord of the Forbidden Area. They could not find any reason to refute the sentence. Every time, Lin Fei would say the same sentence to push them back. Left with no choice, the leaders of the Forbidden Zones discussed with the gods, Tianlong and the others. After all, they had to enter the treasure vault. They had to get Lin Fei's consent. After all, he had the upper hand. After much persuasion, he finally agreed to it. Lin Fei finally got 70% of the loot. He must be up to no good by agreeing so quickly. Lin Fei chuckled, as long as he agreed. There was nothing to worry about. Tricks? Lin Fei was not afraid at all. If you all agree, I'll agree to go in. Lin Fei readily agreed. Regardless of whether there was a conspiracy or not, Lin Fei had the confidence to face it. The lords of the restricted region heaved a sigh of relief. For the first time, they felt so powerless. A junior. It could be said that their surveillance was very powerful. If the 6 Tao protectors were all in Di Tian's hands, they would truly be dumbfounded. Even now, it was as good as helping someone. Based on what he had thought, it would be best if a divine son could have a Tao protector. The benefits would be shared, and everyone would be happy. Now Di Tian had broken them. There were some restricted region lords who wanted to cry, but no tears came out. Their losses were great. All right, let's begin. The Void Emperor wiped the sweat off his forehead. Luckily, Di Tian had agreed and didn't mention anything else. Humph, this bastard. Does he really think that he can monopolize 70% of the profits? Dream on. Tianlong sneered in his heart. He contacted God's son Wu Huan. Wait, let's work together. How about that? God's son Wu Huan was someone who had just risen up. He was very arrogant towards Tianlong. I am quite surprised that Tianlong would choose to work together. Tianlong's expression was normal. If you don't work together, are you willing to let Di Tian take away 70%? I don't think anyone would be willing, much less you. I don't believe that even if we work together, along with the Lord of the Restricted Region, we won't be able to kill Di Tian. We have to chase him away. God's son Wu Huan wanted to mock Tianlong. It wasn't that he didn't want to work together. Just like what he had said, how could he be willing to let someone else take away 70%? Even 10% would make one's heart bleed, let alone 70%. You're right. I'm not happy with Di Tian. This person is a huge threat to us. It's necessary to get rid of him. God's son Wu, Huan replied. We have to discuss how to get rid of Di Tian. The two of them started to discuss in private. To enter the treasury, they needed the 6 Tao protectors to open the path. First was to activate the statues. The statues in front of them were the 6 Tao protectors. In order to open the treasury, they had to activate the statues in order to enter. I'll go first. The Tao protector of Tianlong was the first to activate the statue. The Tao protector of an invincible celestial emperor was able to activate the statues easily. 5 of the 6 statues suddenly disappeared. The first statue seemed to have come to life. It slashed the space apart and opened up a black hole, which turned into a black light door. Rumor has it that the treasury of demon monarch Fei Yang is hidden in the boundless space. It seems like it's true. The illusionary emperor exclaimed. The lord of the restricted region could clearly see the statue slashing the space apart. It had actually split the space apart and activated one of the hidden spaces. This was the brilliance of demon monarch Fei Yang. No one else would be able to open the black light door, as it was connected to the statues. Only the statues could open the door, not even a spatial controller. Let's go in. The lord of the restricted region immediately went in. Only the lord of the restricted region, the 3 godsons, and Lin Fei entered the treasury. The others were too embarrassed to stay outside. As soon as they entered, the black light door closed. There was no way out, and they found themselves in an unfamiliar space. Look, it's another statue. Another statue appeared in the middle of the space. It was the statue that had left before. Everyone could see the mystery behind it. They were connected to one another. One statue opened up a space. The second statue was God's son Wu Huan. Just like before, another space was opened up. The group entered the treasury one by one. The 3rd statue, the 4th statue, the 5th statue, the 6th statue appeared in front of them too. Everyone became even more excited. Lin Fei remained calm while secretly observing the lord of the restricted region and the 3 godsons. He was quite impressed by demon monarch Fei Yong for being able to open up such a treasury. The rounds were indeed mysterious. Defeating demon monarch Fei Yong was a difficult task. Outside were 3 invincible deity emperors, who were even more difficult to deal with. Lin Fei could tell that whether it was God Sun Tianlong, God Sun Wuhuan, or even the 9 Heavens Phoenix, they had to go through a fierce battle to capture the invincible deity emperors. The invincible celestial emperors only had 30% of their strength left. The last statue. Lin Fei asked an invincible celestial emperor to activate the statue. Whoosh! Once it was activated, the statue did not split open the space like before. Instead, it formed a space inside its body and sucked the people outside into it. There's a space inside. Everyone was startled. After all, no one had thought about it that way. They all thought that it would be in another dimension. Chapter 2003. The statue in the space turned into dust, as if it was never there. After the statue turned into dust and disappeared, a few figures suddenly appeared in the space, exactly at the position where the statue had been. Open! The middle-aged man leading the group blasted the space apart with his finger and swiftly stabilized the path. Demon Monarch Fei Yang's treasure vault is pretty deep. Of course, if it weren't for the Supreme Demon Monarch and the others luring Demon Monarch Fei Yang away, we wouldn't even have a 10% chance of finding this place. The 2 God Emperors said. The man leading the group wore a calm expression. Demon Monarch Fei Yang is a thing of the past. I will surely acquire the Destiny Stone left behind by Demon Monarch Fei Yang. The middle-aged man said calmly. Big Brother will surely acquire the Destiny Stone and the Destiny Weapon left behind by Demon Monarch Fei Yang. It's just those few little fellows. In the end, it's all for us, haha. The 3 entered the path. Bang, bang, bang. Lin Fei teleported into the space through the statue. Is this a palace? They initially thought they would be in the space, but they ended up in a huge palace instead. The majestic aura of the palace was accompanied by a sense of superiority. Why is this here? The illusionary emperor was shocked as he stared at the enormous palace. It's really that thing. Didn't they say that it disappeared after Demon Monarch Fei Yang died? Another leader of the Forbidden Zone stared with his eyes open wide in disbelief. Ha ha ha. So Demon Monarch Fei Yang had kept it and treated it like a treasure vault. The leader of the Forbidden Zone was the first to exclaim. Beside him were the 3 God Princes. Only Lin Fei was clueless about the details of the palace. F***K, isn't it just a palace? Is there a need to do this? Lin Fei was confused. He felt that the palace was rather ordinary. There are plenty of palaces like this outside. The God Prince Tianlong, who had been holding his breath, let out a hollow laugh after hearing Di Tian's words. What do you know? This isn't an ordinary palace. It's the palace of Demon Monarch Fei Yang's God Court. Lin Fei glanced at it. The palace of the God Court? He had no idea. How would Lin Fei know that this palace was the palace of the Divine Court? This thing was actually a palace built by a God Emperor after he obtained the mandate of heaven. It was the symbol of a God Emperor, no matter which God Emperor ascended to the throne. The palace of the Divine Court was indispensable. The Void Emperor said, Yes, this is the palace of the Divine Court, the temporary residence of Demon Emperor Fei Yang. I didn't expect him to be hidden in such a place after his death. It seems like Demon Emperor Fei Yang had placed all the good stuff in his palace. The restricted region lord was very excited. A temporary imperial residence. The God Emperor's temporary imperial residence. Who wouldn't be excited? Lin Fei was also a little excited. The temporary imperial residence of the God Emperor was the most powerful place in the world, even if it was in the past. No one could change the glory of the past. The group suppressed the excitement in their hearts. He entered through one of the gates of the temporary imperial residence. After closing the door, it was pushed open again, and a group of people filed in. This is the garden of the palace. Soon, everyone arrived at a place filled with flowers and birds. Despite the passage of time, the garden of the palace was still in full bloom, maintaining its vitality. The people present were all wealthy people, but after coming to the garden, they suddenly felt like beggars. There was nothing to compare to. This is the extinct willow leaf lotus. Inside a pond, a 6-colored lotus was in full bloom. It was dazzling. One of the restricted region lords exclaimed. Before everyone could react, someone else said, "Isn't that a heaven-grade stone? To actually use it to make a fake mountain, this is too rich." And this water, it seems to be called 9-heaven glass water. The lords of the restricted zone were all dumbfounded. These were almost extinct things. If placed in the present, any one of them would set off a bloody storm. I want this 6-colored lotus. 9 Heaven's Phoenix was the first to move, collecting Lord Lu's lotus in the pond. I'm very interested in this fake mountain. God, Child Wu, Huan grabbed with his hand. He grabbed the rockery, which was something that money couldn't buy. Wait, the 3 invincible God Emperors interrupted 9 Heaven's Phoenix and God Child Wu Huan's actions. Everyone seems to have forgotten something. 70% of the things here belong to me. Now that I see something good, I should be the one to choose first. Did everyone forget? Lin Fei didn't care what they would think. 70% of the benefits. This was the advantage. First choice. God Child Wu Huan's eyes spewed fire. You're so shameless. Lin Fei shook his head. Wrong. The word shameless should be used elsewhere, and it's not suitable for me. I'm just stating a fact. I like this fake mountain very much. Lin Fei grabbed with his hand, snatching the fake mountain and putting it in his storage space. I like this too. I want that too. Lin Fei moved again, taking the good things. 9 Heaven's Phoenix did not take the 6-colored lotus. A treasured sword matches a hero. This beautiful 6-colored lotus naturally matches a beauty. So I don't want it. I'll give it to the goddess. God Child Tianlong and God Child Wu Huan were very unhappy. Damn it, using this to rope in the 9 Heaven's Phoenix. And he still dared to say that he wasn't shameless. All right, take your time to choose the remaining things. Lin Fei said with a chuckle. Lin Fei swept away all the good things in the garden. The lord of the restricted area didn't care much, but he still felt a little uncomfortable. After Lin Fei did that, everyone had no interest in plundering the things in the garden. They reluctantly took a few things and prepared to go forward. You don't want it? Then I'll take it. Lin Fei was happy, letting the 3 invincible God Emperors take action, tearing down the entire garden and collecting it all together. In a short while, the garden was riddled with holes. Even a mouse that came in would cry and run out. It was really too empty. Shameless. Too shameless. Shameless. The lord of the restricted area cursed in his heart. He had never seen such a shameless person, taking advantage of the fact that they didn't want anything and plundering the rest. Almost all the good things were in the other party's hands. With the things in his hands, he could set up a garden. Lin Fei did not stand on ceremony and swept everything clean. The palace was huge. This group of people was very relaxed. The treasure vault set up by Demon Monarch Fei Yang was not something that outsiders could enter. The group passed through many areas, sweeping away all the good things. Unknowingly, they passed through many places and arrived at a huge herb mountain. Seeing the herbs that still retained their vitality after so many years, everyone was overjoyed. Ancient herbs, especially some ancient herbs. Even the lord of the restricted area was tempted. It was impossible to see them outside. Chapter 2004. A huge herb mountain. Anyone would be tempted, especially when there were some extinct ancient herbs. The effects of the herbs were terrifying to be able to be called ancient. The lords of the forbidden lands rushed out in excitement. They had forgotten about their previous words and were attacked by the golem hiding in the herb mountain. The golem's strength was terrifying. Even though it was not as strong as an invincible celestial emperor, it was enough to give the lords of the Forbidden Lands a headache. They could only watch helplessly. Lin Fei smirked. When he came here, he had discovered through the system that there was an unknown danger at the bottom of the herb mountain. Hence, he was cautious and did not rush up. There are so many herbs here. Take whatever you like. Lin Fei brought the 3 invincible celestial emperors into the herb mountain. Bang, bang, bang. The invincible celestial emperors with monarch weapons perfectly countered the golem's attacks. Lin Fei was shocked. This demon monarch Fei Yang was really good at scheming. It was really one ring after another. Who would have thought a monarch weapon could break through the golem's defense? After the 3 invincible celestial emperors held the golem back, Lin Fei collected the herbs at a steady pace. These herbs were aged for a long time and could almost take the form of a human. Unfortunately, this place was sealed by a force. The herbs could only remain in their original form. They could not take the form of a human and wield greater power. Lin Fei easily suppressed them, sweeping up all the medicinal herbs. As for what those people's expressions were, he was not interested in watching. After sweeping through the entire medicinal mountain, Lin Fei sprinted to the next location. His movements were extraordinarily fast, causing the lord of the restricted region to grind his teeth. This Di Tian was too despicable. Would he die if he was a little slower? In the beginning, Lin Fei only swept through the herbs, but he felt that he was too slow, so he asked Hairball to do it. Hairball opened and closed her mouth, swallowing the entire herb mountain. After leaving the palace, the golem stopped moving, allowing Lin Fei to heave a sigh of relief. However, to the lords of the Forbidden Lands, it was not a good thing. They were slow at first, but when Hairball showed up and unleashed her innate ability, they were dumbfounded. No one could be so shameless. Tell Lin Fei to stop? They couldn't find a reason to stop Lin Fei. Thus, they could only watch helplessly as Lin Fei swept through 70% of the herb mountain before finally stopping. These are yours. I'm very disciplined. Lin Fei chuckled as he stopped and pointed at the herb mountain in the distance. Compared to the medicinal mountains he had collected, these medicinal mountains were far inferior. All the good stuff had been swept away. The lord of the restricted area wanted to cry, but had no tears. Now that I've provoked you like this, I believe you're going to make a move. Not far away, Lin Fei was waiting for the lord of the restricted region, thinking to himself. Lin Fei wanted to provoke them. It didn't matter if he was the divine son. It was still the restricted region lord who was the best. Even now, he wasn't being honest. Who knows, he might be looking for a chance to deal with him. Di Tian is a bastard. A restricted region lord snorted coldly. The good immemorial medicinal herbs have all been collected. The ones left behind are all the worst. From the start, we shouldn't have agreed to Di Tian's request. Some lords of the restricted regions felt regret. If we didn't agree, we can forget about coming in now. Even though the medicinal herbs on the herb mountain were very good. But in the eyes of the lords of the restricted region, these were just that. Compared to the herb mountain in Di Tian's hands, there was a huge difference. Now, they were very jealous of the herb mountain that Di Tian had collected. The immemorial medicinal herbs in the herb mountain. Even the lords of the restricted region would be tempted. They were of great help to them. Void Emperor, are you willing to let that kid Di Tian continue being so arrogant? God Emperor Star Destruction transmitted to Void Emperor. He was more jealous than anyone else. Just like the few immemorial medicinal herbs just now, they were of great help to us. Now that they have all been taken by Di Tian, I'm not willing. Although Void Emperor was the peacemaker previously, it didn't mean that he was convinced by Di Tian, especially the immemorial medicinal herbs that were collected previously. Some of them were things that Void Emperor cared a lot about. When God Emperor Star Destruction said that he was a little unhappy in his heart, and his expression darkened. What do you want to do? Void Emperor said. God Emperor Star Destruction said in a low voice, I can't stand Tion. He's just a junior. Why should he want 70% of the benefits? Now that we have entered, why don't we chase Tion out? Void Emperor glanced at God Emperor Star Destruction, and he was a little tempted. Are you confident? As the old lords of the restricted region, they had always been high and mighty. Now that they had suffered a loss in the hands of a junior, they were definitely not willing. Previously, they had no choice but to agree because of the other party's threats. Without the statue, they could forget about entering. Now that they had entered, they had another idea. Tion had snatched away the good things that had appeared continuously, which made them even more uncomfortable. Originally, a large portion of the benefits were supposed to belong to them. God Emperor Star Destruction laughed. I've already contacted them, and they don't like Tion to continue staying here. Now, you're the only one left. We fought our way in, so why should we give the majority of the benefits to Tion? Tion has a large success spatial bloodline. Are you sure you can chase Tion out? Void Emperor said worriedly, if we don't chase Tion out, with just the few of us, we will definitely suffer a great loss. I brought a treasure left behind by a God Emperor back then. That God Emperor was a spatial controller back then, and he became an emperor. God Emperor Star Destruction chuckled. I agree. Void Emperor's eyes lit up. Very soon, they swept away the remaining 30% of the medicinal herbs on the herb mountain. At this moment, Lin Fei had waited for a while. We can go to the next place. Void Emperor walked at the front. A few lords of the restricted region appeared on both sides of Void Emperor. Lin Fei sneered in his heart, turned around and walked forward, purposely revealing his back just in case they attacked him. At the instant he turned around, Void Emperor and the lords of the restricted region beside him took out their God Emperor treasures and attacked him. Boom, boom, boom. All the attacks landed on Lin Fei's back. You guys are really shameless. Lin Fei turned around and snorted. I know you guys are regretting, but can you kill me with just this? Void Emperor had nothing to regret. You've taken too much, Void Emperor said. Even if we can't kill you, we have achieved our goal by sending you out. God Emperor Star Destruction and the lords of the restricted region worked together to activate a golden talisman, which flickered with radiance and an irresistible pressure swept over. Emperor's might. Tion, you've been tricked. The golden talisman released a radiance, which swept towards Lin Fei's body, and the void was torn apart, and Lin Fei disappeared from the desolate herb mountain. Success! God Emperor Star Destruction had a hint of fatigue on his forehead, and when he saw Jingguang bringing Tion into the void, he laughed loudly. Ha ha ha! This is great. Tion has finally been sent away. Chapter 2005. In order to send Tion away, Celestial Emperor Star Destruction had to use a treasure. Now that Tion had disappeared, the Celestial Emperor Star Destruction was relieved. Without the detestable Tion around, the treasure vault of Demon Monarch Fei Yang would eventually belong to them. I thought Tion had some tricks up his sleeves. So what if his space bloodline has reached the greater success stage? He was still sent out when we were least expecting it. Celestial Emperor Star Destruction was elated. The other lords of restricted areas were elated too. After all, no one was willing to let others take 70% of the loot. Moreover, this person had nothing to do with them. It was a relief to send him away. They didn't have to worry about the treasures in Demon Emperor Fei Yang's treasure vault. Now, it would be divided among the three of them. As for whether the Supreme Demon Monarch would be enraged after this, it was another matter. Anyway, if they didn't say it, who would know? Even if Tion said it, would anyone believe it? God's son Tianlong and God's son Wuhuan smiled. It was the first time the high and mighty godson couldn't do anything to Tion. The unknown defense was too annoying. It was like an annoying fly. Now that he couldn't see Tion, his mood became better. Without Tion, we can continue. Illusionary Emperor was also in a good mood. As a veteran lord of restricted area, he didn't like Detian. It was good that he left. Clap, 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 clap. Suddenly, a few more people appeared in the sky above her mountain. The leader applauded. Celestial Emperor Star Destruction's mood immediately sank. It's you. The Lord of Restricted Area turned around and recognized the person. They had been paying attention to the news outside. They knew who the person in front of them was, including his background. Celestial Emperor Dream One, how did you get in? Illusionary Emperor was shocked. They had gone through a lot of trouble to get in. Now that Celestial Emperor Dream One had come in silently, they couldn't believe it was real. A tail appeared behind them, and they thought about Celestial Emperor Dream One's background. The Lord of Restricted Area's expression darkened. The leader was Celestial Emperor Dream One. He had always been in the top 5 on the Destiny list. He was an incredible expert. It's all thanks to you guys leading the way, Celestial Emperor Dream One said with a smile. How would I know that Demon Monarch Fei Yang had come up with such a way to come in? The faces of Divine Emperor Star Destruction and the others became even more unsightly as they were able to enter right under their noses. The plan to attack Demon Monarch Fei Yang's Forbidden Land had been planned a long time ago. Thus not many people knew about it. He did not expect God Emperor Meng Yi to target him and follow him in. This was a powerful enemy. Divine Emperor Dream One, what are you trying to do? Divine Emperor Star Destruction stared at Divine Emperor Dream One. Initially he was in a good mood, but now his mood was ruined by God Emperor Dream One. God Emperor Star Destruction was in a terrible mood. You want the treasures of Demon Monarch Fei Yang, but I want the Destiny Weapon and Destiny Stone left behind by Demon Monarch Fei Yang. It's that simple. Celestial Emperor Meng Yi said calmly. The Void Emperor's heart tightened. You also know about the Heaven's Will Weapon? You're really not simple. I thought only old things like us would know about the Heaven's Will Weapon. In a small dust cloud on her mountain, Lin Fei was hiding among them. In fact, it was in the system space, borrowing the other party's brilliance. Lin Fei hid in the system space and turned into a small dust cloud, right in front of everyone's eyes. Damn it! God Emperor Meng Yi is so cunning. Lin Fei cursed. However, no matter how cunning you are, you still fell into my trap. Let me be the fisherman. From the beginning, Lin Fei knew that someone had sneaked in. The system scan was not an exaggeration. Thus, Lin Fei made a move to make them attack. Heaven's Will Weapon? There's such a thing? Lin Fei really did not know about it. It sounded like it was a very impressive name. God Emperor Meng Yi was very imposing, as if everything was under his control. Seniors know about the Heaven's Will Weapon. Why can't I know about it? God Emperor Meng Yi said with a smile. The Heaven's Will Weapon is the strongest weapon of a God Emperor. There can only be one in each era. Its power surpasses the Monarch Weapon. There was a saying that once the Heaven's Will Weapon appears, no one can compete against it. Void Emperor said in a deep voice, Taoist Meng Yi, you might not be aware of one thing. Demon Emperor Fei Yang's Heaven's Will Weapon is not complete. Currently, the Heaven's Will Weapons exist in fragments. It is impossible for the Heaven's Will Weapon to be complete in Demon Emperor Fei Yang's treasure vault. Whether there is or not is another matter. Don't you agree, Void Emperor? God Emperor Meng Yi was not angry. As long as you agree to hand over the Heaven's Will Weapon and the Heaven's Will Stone, I don't want the rest. God Sun Sky Dragon said coldly, God Emperor Meng Yi, who do you think you are? You want the Heaven's Will Weapon and the Heaven's Will Stone, just like that? Do you really think we don't exist? Di Tian had finally left, and now God Emperor Meng Yi, an expert on the Heaven's Will ranking, made God Sun Sky Dragon even more unhappy. He was the #1 God Sun, but now he seemed like a passerby. God Emperor Meng Yi looked at God Sun Sky Dragon with a smile. So it's the #1 God Sun Sky Dragon. That means you don't agree. God's son Sky Dragon is in trouble. In the system space, Lin Fei laughed. God Emperor Meng Yi seemed to be gentle on the surface, but Lin Fei didn't think so. This God Emperor Meng Yi had a strong background, and it was not as simple as it seemed on the surface. How could he be an ordinary person who rose up the heavens while ranking like a rocket? God's son Sky Dragon's eyes flickered as he faced God Emperor Meng Yi. That's right, the treasure vault of Demon Monarch Fei Yang isn't something you can take away with just a few words. Win against me first. I've long heard about the #1 God Son Sky Dragon. Your strength is incredible, and you have the will of the heavens and earth. I'm very interested. God Emperor Meng Yi did not have any hint of anger on him, and he was still as gentle as before. I would like to see the strength of a genius ranked in the top 10 of the heavens while ranking. Bang, bang, bang. The will of the heavens and earth surrounded God Emperor Meng Yi. The invisible will of the heavens and earth penetrated deep into God Emperor Meng Yi's divine sense. The divine sense was the place that experts valued the most, and the will of the heavens and earth could easily enter it, destroying everything it passed through. No matter how strong the opponent was, they would not be able to withstand it. Even the rulers of the forbidden areas were shocked by the will of the heavens and earth. God's son Sky Dragon initially planned to use this move against Di Tian, but it was unable to penetrate through Di Tian's strong defense. Therefore, he could only vent his anger on God Emperor Meng Yi. What a great attack from the will of the heavens and earth! God Emperor Meng Yi squinted his eyes and shattered the will of the heavens and earth. He then pointed his finger at God's son Sky Dragon. What a pity, it's not enough! Bang! God Emperor Meng Yi pointed his finger at God's son Sky Dragon's forehead. All his defenses were useless now. Crack, 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 crack. God's son Sky Dragon's body exploded, and a wave of will of the heavens and earth struck him, causing him to disappear. You too can leave now. God Emperor Meng Yi pointed at God's son Wu Huan and the 9 Heavens Phoenix. Bang, bang. Chapter 2006. Damn, it's over. Lin Fei blinked. This was completely beyond his imagination. Lin Fei was well aware of the strength of Divine Sun Sky Dragon and Divine Sun Wu Huan. It would be difficult to kill them, and it would also be difficult to defeat them. But now, it was too fast, too easy. No, the power he used just now doesn't seem to be ordinary divine power. Lin Fei calmed down and thought back to first God Emperor Dream's attack. He could see that this was not an ordinary divine power attack. Even though he didn't have a deep understanding of the God Sons, Lin Fei knew that they were protected by the heavenly Tao. God Emperor Meng Yi was able to easily break his physical body, so the power he displayed was definitely not simple. No wonder this guy can come up so fast, and his strength is so overbearing. If he were to bombard me with his finger, perhaps I would have to consume 20 to 30% of my divinity points. Lin Fei listed God Emperor Meng Yi as one of the key opponents to defend against. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, Lin Fei wouldn't have believed it. This is the power of heaven's will. The illusionary emperor's body began to tremble. His face was filled with disbelief. This was a power that he hadn't seen for a very long time. Only an old man like him had seen the power of heaven's will. Impossible. How could you grasp heaven's will's power so quickly? God Emperor Meng Yi said indifferently, Nothing is impossible, because the destiny of the future will belong to me. A few mere divine sons are unable to unleash 100% of the will of the heavenly way. They are no match for me at all. If it wasn't for the protection of the damned heavenly way, I would have completely annihilated them. After the lords of the restricted areas recovered from their shock, their eyes revealed deep fear, and not just a trace of fear. Divine Emperor Meng Yi's strength exceeded their imagination. Even if they joined hands, they were not Divine Emperor Meng Yi's match. Since you have the power of heaven's will, why do you need to ask us about the things in the treasury? The Void Emperor sighed. Just a tiny bit of this legendary power was enough to give him the upper hand. It was not what they, the dozen or so lords of the restricted area, could contend against. It wasn't easy for him to trick Lin Fei. He didn't expect an even more ferocious tiger to appear. He had also grasped the power of heaven's will. Celestial Emperor Meng Yi smilingly said, "Both the Destiny Stone and the fragment of the Destiny Weapon are sealed away by Demon Monarch Fei Yang's power. I would like to ask for your help. I wonder if everyone is willing to grant this emperor my wish." At this time, who would dare to say the word no? The Divine Sun is awesome, right? In the end, it was still destroyed by a single finger of yours. The most unbelievable thing is that you have the power of the heaven's will. Even a trace of it is not something we can resist. Heaven's will power. Lin Fei pondered. He had figured something out from the conversation just now. It seemed that this power that could shatter the Son of God was called the mandate of heaven. Don't tell me, did the God Emperor control this kind of heaven's will power? A power that completely surpasses divine power? Lin Fei's mind went blank. Can my system's divinity points raise the power to the level of heavenly mandate? Lin Fei had always been used to the divinity points. However, after hearing about the heaven's will power, Lin Fei suddenly had an idea. It seemed like his divinity points could be upgraded to produce a stronger power. Celestial Emperor Meng Yi has to ask for my permission to take the Destiny Weapon and the Destiny Stone. Lin Fei had his eyes on it too. If I can get the fragment of the Destiny Weapon or even the Destiny Stone and peek at the power of the Destiny Stone, will I be able to increase the power of my God Force? Lin Fei fell into deep thought. Celestial Emperor Meng Yi easily suppressed the three godsons. He banished them from Demon Monarch Fei Yang's palace. At the same time, he made the Lord of the Forbidden Area agree to help him break the seal left by Demon Monarch Fei Yang. The situation was instantly under Celestial Emperor Meng Yi's control. Let's go! The Lord of the Forbidden Area led the way, while Celestial Emperor Meng Yi followed behind. Suddenly, Celestial Emperor Meng Yi came to a stop. He glanced at the herb mountain and frowned. "Master, what's wrong?" Celestial Emperor Meng Yi withdrew his gaze. His eyes flickered with a hint of doubt. "Nothing, it feels like someone is peeking at me, but I can't find anything." "Master, is there a mistake?" "Maybe there's a mistake." Celestial Emperor Meng Yi said, "I have a trace of the heavens' will power. With this trace of the heavens' will power, I was able to peek into Demon Monarch Fei Yang's treasure vault. Outsiders are not allowed to enter, and I don't believe anyone has snuck in." Meanwhile, Lin Fei was chuckling close to Celestial Emperor Meng Yi. Such sharp reflexes. Lin Fei did not purposely observe Celestial Emperor Meng Yi. To be honest, he was quite shocked that Celestial Emperor Meng Yi was aware of it. It was the first time someone had noticed it. Even though Celestial Emperor Meng Yi did not find him, Lin Fei dared not let his guard down. Demon Monarch Fei Yang's palace was huge. Celestial Emperor Meng Yi seemed to be familiar with the general location of the palace. He brought the group to the center of the palace, which was the biggest palace. Along the way, they were attacked by the statues a few times. They were easily defeated. "This is the place." The illusionary emperor glanced at the enormous palace not far away. There were 2 words on the palace: Treasure Palace. Anyone who was not an idiot would know that the palace was where Demon Monarch Fei Yang stored his treasures. The heavens will weapon and the heavens will stone might be inside. If Celestial Emperor Meng Yi was not here, the Lord of the Forbidden Area would be even happier. Celestial Emperor Meng Yi wore a smile as he glanced at the treasure palace. "Everyone, follow me inside. Let's take a look at the treasures left behind by Demon Monarch Fei Yang." Celestial Emperor Meng Yi blasted the door of the treasure palace open with his finger. The door, made of unique materials, shattered into pieces. Lin Fei secretly followed behind. As soon as they entered the treasure palace, it was not empty or filled with treasures as they imagined, but they were in the middle of a starry sky. In the starry sky, the treasures were surrounded by blinding lights that kept on moving. Roar, roar, roar. Far away, a giant dragon was circling in the starry sky. Its sharp eyes were staring at them, causing the entire starry sky to tremble. Even a sacred rank god range has transformed. Celestial Emperor Meng-Yi was not surprised at all. Roar, roar, roar! Another giant golden dragon appeared from afar. Compared to the previous giant dragon, this one was more imperious. Its terrifying aura caused the starry sky to tremble. Is this the legendary ultimate form of the sacred rank god range, the sacred emperor divine range? The illusionary emperor stared at the giant golden dragon and thought of something that he had not seen for a long time. Celestial Emperor Meng-Yi said smilingly, "You have a good eye. This is indeed the ultimate form of the sacred rank god range, the sacred emperor divine range. There are only a few of them in the world. I did not expect demon monarch Fei Yang to find one." Lin Fei's eyes flickered as he followed behind. The ultimate form? Are you kidding me? Even a small sacred rank god range was not easy to come by, let alone a sacred emperor divine range. Lin Fei had the urge to suppress it in the system. Chapter 2007. Lin Fei's horizons were broadened. He was considered a tycoon. He was nothing compared to demon monarch Fei Yang. The latter was 100 times more impressive than him. He even had the ultimate form of a sacred meridian. This was not something that just anyone could have. Demon monarch Fei Yang's status as a god monarch was incomparable to ordinary people. Lin Fei forced himself to calm down. If Emperor God Meng-Yi did not show up, he would have killed him and taken all the treasures. Don't worry, don't worry. Emperor God Meng-Yi was only slightly surprised. It was obvious that the god monarch came from a formidable faction. As everyone's gaze landed on the sacred meridians, Emperor God Meng-Yi continued forward. Even though the leaders of the Forbidden Zones were tempted, they had no choice but to stop. Don't worry, as long as I get the destiny weapons and destiny stones, I don't need the rest. They are all yours. Emperor God Meng-Yi said. It was obvious that his words were quite useful to the leaders of the Forbidden Zones. The leaders of the Forbidden Zones looked better. A bunch of idiots. Lin Fei, who was following behind, let out a hollow laugh. He did not believe Emperor God Meng-Yi's words. A sacred meridian that could transform into a sacred meridian was the pinnacle among the sacred meridians. Any sacred meridian was a priceless treasure. Lin Fei had the urge to take everything. Not to mention someone like Emperor God Meng-Yi. They passed through the giant dragon, formed by the sacred meridian. Statues appeared in front of them once again, each suppressing a treasure. There were sabers, swords, and all kinds of weapons. Some of the leaders of the Forbidden Zones exclaimed when they saw the statues. That's God Emperor Ju Qin, an experienced, invincible God Emperor. He was killed by demon monarch Fei Yang, who had just achieved the God Emperor realm. This is his weapon, the Willow Leaf Sword. It was the name of a leader of a Forbidden Zone. He had made a name for himself a long time ago. They did not expect him to be killed by demon monarch Fei Yang. His corpse was refined and placed here to be suppressed. Immediately, the other leaders of the Forbidden Zones shifted their attention to the statues. 3 Origin God Emperor, Goddess Luoxan. One name after another popped up. Some were powerful, some were skilled in formations. Demon Emperor Fei Yang had managed to gather all of them together. Each and every one of them was a treasure that was being suppressed. It was also very moving. Compared to the sacred rank divine range, this was just a little exciting for everyone. Which famous person would not create such a spoils of war like this? Not only did it give him a sense of accomplishment, but it also gave him a sense of accomplishment. In the eyes of outsiders, it was extremely shocking. The group continued to observe as they advanced. God Emperor Meng Yi did not speak much. After passing through the loot area set up by demon monarch Fei Yong, immediately mountains appeared one after another. These mountains were all piled up with all kinds of materials. No matter who it was, as long as they looked at it, they would have the urge to take it down. Because the temporary imperial residence was the most powerful place in the world. As time went on, these top-grade materials all developed their own sentience and began to move back and forth, possessing a life form. This would require a long period of time. When everyone came in, the top-grade materials all quieted down. It returned to its original state. After all, the auras of deity Emperor Meng and the others were so powerful that they could be sensed from afar. This time he was much less shocked. It was not surprising that some of the forbidden areas had some life forms too, but in Lin Fei's eyes it was still shocking. It seemed like he was trying to collect all the good stuff in the world at once. The group proceeded forward again. This time, nothing could be seen in the starry sky. As the group thought they were about to arrive, under the starry sky, a spring of yin and yang appeared, vaguely visible under the starry sky. Wisps of light were emitted from it, causing its aura to fluctuate. A ripple was formed. The masters of the forbidden areas instinctively stopped in their tracks. Even God Emperor Meng Yi did the same. His eyes were fixed onto the spring with a look of disbelief. Demon Monarch Fei Yong is so generous to be able to summon a unique life form. Is he planning to use the treasures here to nurture this unique life form? God Emperor Meng Yi said, "This is a unique life form." The illusionary emperor could not believe it. Didn't they say that there are only a handful of unique life forms in this world, and none of them are easy to suppress? Could this spring water be a unique life form? God Emperor Meng Yi explained, "The current unique life forms are indeed extremely domineering, but they can't transform into a human form and can only maintain their original form. They will also have some spiritual intelligence, making it very easy to deal with them. For example, this unique life form in front of us is a terrifying form of water. Don't be fooled by its harmless appearance, but anyone who approaches it will be swallowed without leaving a corpse behind." God Emperor Destruction waved his hand, and a peak ultimate god appeared next to him, allowing him to get close to the spring water. A trace of energy landed on the peak ultimate god and turned him into a pool of blood without leaving a corpse behind. What a terrifying power! The masters of the forbidden areas were very surprised and frowned. They did not notice the energy fluctuation just now. Not just any power could corrode a peak ultimate god in an instant and do it so quickly. Even if we, the masters of the forbidden areas, take action, we might not be able to gain any benefits from this thing. The masters of the forbidden areas had terrifying eyesight. This kind of thing would continue to grow, and its strength would surpass them in the future. However, the premise was that it would take a long time. Can I take this special life form back? Lin Fei stared at the special life form and drooled. Others might not be able to subdue it, but as long as he had enough divinity points, he might really be able to subdue it. If he could make this guy transform through the system, wouldn't that mean he would have another thug by his side? Hairball was a powerful thug. The special life form was also very famous and was very suitable as a thug. Emperor Meng Yi, if you don't like this special life form, I'm very interested in it. Can you let me have it? A master of the forbidden area said as he grabbed with his big hand and was about to suppress the special life form. Emperor Meng Yi did not speak and only had a disdainful look on his face as he let the other party do it without stopping him. How can an old thing like you subdue a special life form? The master of the forbidden area grabbed with his big hand. Before he got close to the special life form, a fierce aura blasted straight at him and crushed his arm on the spot. Drops of blood fell. In a moment he lost his left hand. The master of the forbidden area was furious as he actually lost to a special life form. Before he could attack, the special life form attacked again. It was as fierce as a tiger and made the master of the forbidden area very embarrassed.